Hello? Not much, just middle of a CS game this way. But we can start this whenever you want. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Just middle of a CS game this way. But we can start this whenever you want. Okay. Oh, let me... Oh.
In miraculous fashion, Doc Bobman led off the bottom of the first inning with a leadoff home run. All they had to do now was keep the Diamondback hitters from scoring a run themselves. If the Twins are able to keep their cool, they'll be able to evade these Diamondbacks and get their first win of the season.
a near miraculous escape.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast for the most controversial subreddit in existence. My name is Jayyburdd. I am your commissioner, and I'll be, I guess, the host for today in this very haphazard, very chill little podcast we got going on here. I hope you like this this very fun background we got going on here. I made it in 5 minutes. And so, yeah, we got 3 other people with us tonight. We got Dunquette, the Orioles.
Oh God.
The Orioles GM who is having a stroke, and
I just laid out. Sorry.
we got Mattis 99, the Toronto GM. Say hi. That's pretty good. Seems
Rick.
like
He's muted.
Oh yeah, he's muted. That's weird.
Why are you muted?
He might be having some problems.
Oh, I was coughing to death over here. I'm back.
Oh,
If my mic mutes, it's because I'm coughing over here, and don't want to abuse the viewers with that.
All right, so and finally we also have Stone Steel, who's a Pittsburgh Pirates player. So say hi.
hello.
I believe he's also the first home run derby champion, but that's just what
And
I
he's
heard.
he's also the first ever player to get a 0 difference in MLR history.
Record
Also the
setter.
first position player to strike someone out, but that's enough stroking of my ego for one day.
Before we start, I want to make sure that we can hear our guests. As if we can't, that's a big problem. So if you can, if you're listening, tell me in the Discord or something if you can actually hear the people speaking.
Yeah.
I can hear us.
I think we should be fine. Stone
I
Steel's
can
a
hear.
smidge quiet, but
I'm
besides that,
quiet. I
solid.
can hold on.
This
Actual
background,
stream?
this
it
background is
will-
very nice. It hurts my eyes, but I'm a big fan.
brutal.
That's the point. All right.
Is that
let me,
better?
Yeah, I might open up the stream real quick on my end, just to make sure if I can hear this. Yeah, I might open
Is that
up the
better?
stream real quick on my. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay. So if we're not good, tell me in the YouTube stream or in the YouTube chat or on the Discord. Both is fine.
Osmosis said he's gonna hop on when he gets home.
Yeah, if we're still going by then definitely we'd like to have him there. And also, if anybody who's listening right now wants to come on,
Give us a call.
Yeah, give us a
Who you gonna call?
Give me
Podcast crew.
give me them digits, and I'll be happy to add you into the super secret club. But yeah, okay. So first order of business, we're going to be talking about session 5, which seemed to go on for an eternity and a half. I think it's safe to say that was the longest
Still
session.
going.
Oh yeah, you're
Just
right.
about.
Shit.
Just about 9 years. Just
hold
a
on.
little under 9 years
Like
it
a
went
boss
on.
guy.
This is actually kind of interesting because me and the Orioles were playing each other that session, and there was some
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
crazy stuff that went down.
Yeah, like my I was actually asked for a comment by, I can tell you exactly who, by Church Peanuts about
Ooh, yeah,
how
sure.
I felt about Aaron Range, and he said, was he always a detriment in the clubhouse, and did you know he wasn't going to stay a full year? He wasn't always a detriment in the clubhouse. He was actually a nice guy when I knew him, when he didn't quit.
Yeah, I thought
But-
that was really weird how he just suddenly he just quit straight up like that.
He did. He didn't tell me.
And it
He was participating in the first 2 sessions, and then he just stopped submitting numbers.
Yeah, that's the thing. He didn't even
Um,
go like, "Can I please?" He didn't go like, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to retire." He just kind of ignored. He just
Yeah.
Apparently, he deleted the app specifically to ignore the game, which is like, why are you going through all that effort when you can just be like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. Like that would have been fine.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
though, we had a huge step up from our bench player, Lude Van Shark, who actually walked off the Jays in the last game.
That did happen.
I love that name, by the way. I don't know if I made that or if Admiral made that. We made some pretty good names. I really liked Otto von Auge, who was Ach mein Ei, who is the guy who I just recently got took off of the Tigers roster because he didn't answer for shit. God, I was really happy with
Pro
that.
tip: don't close Discord when you're looking at something. Because I just disconnected.
Oh, we didn't even notice.
Yeah, that was pretty
I
seamless.
was in the middle of talking and I just stopped.
That was really seamless.
So I'm not gonna lie, you guys might have came back and won it, but there was some pretty good achievements that day. Gerard hit a 2-run homer,
there's pretty good
which was
achievement
pretty
from,
nice.
first of all, the Orioles hitting their first ever Grand Slam in fake baseball.
Stride
And
hit a
second of
2-home run
all,
game.
Mr. Rob Pancakes hitting the single game strikeout record is a pretty big achievement, if I do say so myself.
Pancakes is the best shitty pitcher I've ever seen in my life.
He is.
He'll
strike out 12 guys, but he'll also let in 5 runs.
Yeah, he'll also let up 12 runs while he's striking out 12 people. But he did really good against the Nationals. And speaking of the Nationals, let me just say, my team killed some motherfuckers. It broke the single game run scored record. We're the first team to hit double digits.
I'm surprised you didn't break the single game run record against us. Jesus.
Yeah, well, we did, and then we broke that. So.
Oh God, kill me!
You can thank the Nationals for that, because we went from.
I think Toronto's about to set another one against you guys.
Well, the funny part is the first time, the first batter you guys faced, we got a 0 difference.
I did notice that.
So that was a little fun. So maybe not. But that was a
wasn't the most fun on our end, but it was pretty good.
Kian made sure to cover his tracks, and on Twitter he was like, well, Oliver Yu is having injury issues. He's having a sore arm or something like that. So he's really covering the tracks. This is not the Oliver Yu in his prime. Okay, so if you beat him like that, if you get 10 runs against him. This is not the true Oliver Yu. Let me just tell you that. So
okay.
So
I'm still just waiting for my game to start. Isn't it great when your first baseman's brother is your umpire?
He said he would do it tonight. I reminded him just to make sure.
I don't mind if it's not tonight. It's fine. But actually a very solid session with myself, the Twins, and the Mets all collecting their first wins, which I find very impressive because that happened all in one shot. It's not like okay, the Twins got one and then we went 0-7 and then we got one. No, we did it. All the Ofer teams collected their power like fucking Goku and just beat up the better teams.
And bias aside, later in this for session 6, I know 2 of you guys are 1-4 team GMs, but out of all 4 1-4 teams, who do you think is going to go 2-4 in session 6? If somebody has to go 2-4,
if I had to guarantee one, who are the Twins playing again?
Astros.
The Astros and the
bias aside, just because Toronto started and we already have 3 runs, I'm going to go with us. But, that's not bias or anything.
Well, I may not be
the Twins.
I may not be.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I may not be a GM, but looking at that Mets game, they're already in the lead too. So there might be multiple 2-4.
Yeah, the Twins are in the lead too.
It's difficult to say. I can't give. If it was 0-0, I'd likely favor Philadelphia. I'd favor your team, Jay. But the fact that Toronto put up 3 runs really early, and we've shown that, granted, it can be very easy to score a lot of runs very quickly, but in a lot of cases, it can also be very difficult to score a lot of runs. So I think the early momentum is going to give this to Toronto. So I'm gonna put Toronto a lock for 2-4.
Well, you can say that, but if you also look at the history of the illustrious Philadelphia Phillies,
they have had a comeback
in games. Not just that, in games that the other team scored first, they haven't lost yet. Well, then again, they only have 1 loss, but still, a lot of times. But even if three runs in the first, it's kind of a rough patch. But I wanted to throw the conversation over to Stone Steel because I wanted to learn more about the Pirates game. Maybe give a recap of the one that's going on right now. If you're around.
I just gotta say, who's is now my enemy number one.
Yeah.
I still can't figure him out.
Really? I mean, it's good that cause I did ump the downturn, the downfall, where who's gave up I think 4 runs, was it? Which was a pain in the ass for Houston, who's been having a bit of a skid lately.
It was 5 runs.
5 runs, damn. Yeah.
inning.
And it was mostly on singles too, which is really just frustrating. I saw
It
he was really
4 singles, and I hit a sac fly.
well. It's still a sack. It's not counting to your average at least. You saw them a little bit.
Hey Jay, you're needed in the home run derby.
Yeah, I saw that in mentions. I can, if you guys want to take over and maybe talk about other games. We got the Minnesota game.
Oh yeah, I got a little something.
Oh no.
Did I actually? Oh wait, no, that's what it was. So as you guys were talking about figuring out pitchers, I'm not gonna say we have the best scouting staff in the MLR, but we have the best scouting staff in the MLR. I gotta throw a quick shout out to my prime boy, my right fielder, Whit Murdo, on his absolute devotion. He has put together every pitch that every pitcher we faced has thrown. And I really, he did a stand-up job on all the spreadsheets we have, and I'm really impressed with him, and he's doing a great job. He is our director of scouting, and he's doing a great job at it, and he's really contributing to the team. And I don't understand why more teams, if they aren't already, aren't doing this right now, because it's proving that it's worked.
Yeah, well, I can vouch for that because if you're gonna shout out Whit Murdo, I'd like to shout out the fine Hunter Tucero who can't join us today, who's probably listening in the future, but he's probably my form of Whit Murdo there, in that he takes like every single pitch from the pitcher that we're facing from the game prior, and actually. We just got a 0 difference, and that's because he took the pitches. Basically, what will happen is he'll take the pitches, and then I'll graph them. I'll put them in a pie chart, so we can have like a nice image.
That's a good idea. Yeah, Whit's been putting together patterns of what he does. Like he had, I think our last game, he had a scouting report, and he was saying that he was giving us by innings what he was starting with, and then what he was leaning towards, and I was like. Jesus, dude.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
He's kind of poking jabs at us. He's like, it would be nice. It's like, I can't wait for the day that I can get some extra help with this wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
We might have to go to the GM lounge and discuss some transactions because that sounds pretty helpful. I'm just gonna say.
Well,
I was gonna suggest osmosis, but I was thinking, that would take forever. But actually, it might not take forever for the umps because I was thinking. Instead of making the individual teams have to do it separately, it could be possible for the umps themselves to just record the pitches, or to even add a aspect of difficulty to it. We couldn't record the pitches and leave it to the actual teams themselves to figure the other team out instead of just gifting them the knowledge. But I'm okay either way. It's definitely an aspect of the game. It shows patterns throughout pitchers, and it gives you an advantage, in my opinion.
I like it because it's in a game like this where a lot of things are random. It's good to have that one thing, like something that you can point
something
to.
That you can look at and count on, and your players can instead of asking you, it's like, dude, I don't know what number to pick. They can refer to something and be, okay, it's the 5th inning. He's gone through these pitches. It's looking like he's going to go towards this time because that's his pattern. That's what he usually does. And it's something that does it almost takes a little less of the random aspect out of it, and it adds a almost a bit of a cerebral skill in figuring out what a guy wants to do and what he's going to do next.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if he's not a loser who uses RNGs, then
Sardinka.
Does he? Oh, good thing we're not facing him then, because I need them scouting reports. But
if we're shouting out our scouting report, guys, I got to shout out mine too. Then
yeah, go
mine's Tomatoes is a berry, and he does everything you guys have been talking about except the pie chart. But I think we're gonna get him on that now. And
oh yeah, I'm gonna jump on the pie chart train now too. I was like, oh, damn, that's a good idea.
Lane Drew or Strident got hit that 2 home run game because we saw what pitches Pancakes I think was in at the time does per inning, and we used those, and we're gonna say that's why Stride got his 2 home run game, which I believe was either the first or second 2 home run game in MLR history.
Well, the thing that's speaking of the Blue Jays, the thing that's like a major bitch about them today is the fact that Moyer, because we did pie chart, we did graph his stuff, and basically like we have little strategy. I'm gonna have to say it, like you don't have to like worry about shit because we don't have like much strategy against him when it comes to like what pitches he uses most. Because we literally graphed him, and it is we graphed it like equally throughout different sections, and basically he picks the numbers in basically the same quantities throughout the entire range. It's ridiculous. So I wish I could say like watch your back because we got the perfect scouting report. I'm gonna go out and say that we're gonna be going by our gut here. I'm gonna be a true sportsman there. But
man, you have no idea how many times Witt has done. He's like, okay, this is looking like he's gonna throw, but I'm gonna go with this instead. And he had one last game, and it was like second inning, I think. And if he picked the original number he said, he would have hit a home run. And I'm like, dude, you just need to go with your gut from now on. You need to actually just bank on your knowledge and just go with it because it's looking like if you do, you're going to have a great year. And speaking of great years, AL and NL MVP, who you guys got?
NL and AL.
Don't make me just say me.
I think the NL
AL
is a lot easier.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think
AL currently. I think AL is. I mean, record-wise, they're not.
AL's between two guys, in my opinion, right now.
Currently, I like Van Vactor still, even though I haven't heard much from him. I don't know if it's just because there's been more players up to his level. I still think Van Vactor has my vote as it stands now when it comes to the AL.
I agree with you on that because
I am a little biased in my. I would give it to Van Vactor right now, but I think the AL is between two guys, and I think one of those guys is reffing the hometown Orioles in Randy Numbers, who is leading the league in home runs right now, and I can only appreciate him for that.
He's tied in the league with a pitcher named Cy Had.
Oh no!
Ooh.
Well, that's embarrassing.
I've also got Van Vactor though because he leads the league in batting average, hits, on base percentage, slugging, and weight in WOBA.
Yeah, you gotta. Right now, he's
also
absolutely
technically
the number one
tied
right
for second in home runs and runs scored. So
Yeah, you're right on that, and yeah,
he's everywhere. And it's like it's not even just because of like his first 2 games, because like I remember recently checking in with Admiral. And he was, and I was like, man, I haven't heard of Van Vactor in a while. Man, he must be frozen right now. And then Admiral was like, no, he's 2 for 2 today. It's like, god damn, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely. I definitely would probably give that to him as of now.
Oh yeah.
I definitely, when it comes to the NL, I think right now, and I hate to say this because
I'd give it to Larry Wayne personally.
Larry Wayne.
Yeah. I don't know. Larry
Wayne,
he has the RBI. He has the RBI. He's just crushing the league in RBI. But besides that, offensively, he's just not there. That's it. That's all he has. Like, he has 2 home runs. But, like,
I was gonna say
Randy's coming up because he's up there in slugging. He went down. He went back down to the top 5. But he was up there in slugging. He's up there in home runs. He's second in RBI with 5. And he's batting, if I'm correct, I think he's batting like 437. But Larry just he's just it's only RBI. So I mean, and the home runs. So
I think
I
what
mean,
we
you
have
can't really give it to him right now. But a pitcher is possible. Honestly,
I think Milo Grahams. I think he's flying underneath everybody's radar, but I think he's gonna get it.
I think
He is.
we're
Yeah.
not giving enough credit to the best offense in all of baseball right now, according to my friend Rico Varing Hipster, who's basically on Van Vactor's tail right now in most offensive categories, and in most not counting stats, more like the percentage, like batting average and stuff like that.
Yeah, he could do it because he's second in weighted on base average, second in slugging, third in on base percentage, second in batting average. He's not up there in terms of hits, but he's got 3 doubles, which is tied for the best, and he's also tied for the best in triples. So he does have the power. He's just not.
Yeah, but that triples is.
They're all
I don't
ones.
think triples is really worth it. They're
Everyone
all
has ones. I mean,
it's more than 5 people too. I'm not even on the leaderboard, and I have a triple.
Cy Youngs are probably a little. Not even. Yeah, they're maybe a little bit easier to tell, but
I think I got Jayyburdd for the NL.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that too. JB, he's right there in ERA. He's #1 in WHIP. Like you're not gonna.
But JB is only in those categories because as far as innings pitched goes, he hasn't really been there. I think he just barely makes the inning pitched minimum. I think he's starting his second game. He's closed 2 of them.
He's literally just above. 7.5 is to qualify, and he is 7.6.
I think for NL, at least for NL Cy Young, I think we're gonna have to go with Cal Tiberius Jr. Who's repping a 1.26 ERA or R6 if you prefer to call it that. But yeah, I think he's got it down so far.
Mm-hmm. He's up there. Like if you look at earned runs, he's not top 5. Home runs lie, he's not top 5. Like in a lot of the defensive categories, in terms of getting hits or anything against, he's not there. He's not walking guys. He's not letting guys get hits. But he's winning games and he's playing well. So
he had that really fun game with Houston versus the Braves, where basically I think it was him. He gave up 2 runs, and then I know for a fact it was him versus Bass, and they both just traded the lead back and forth at the end of the game. It was a pitching duel, and then slowly but surely it started to unravel, and it just slightly unraveled in Tiberius's favor. And I think that game accounts for the only runs that Tiberius has let up, which I think is even more amazing. The fact that at least as far as I know, I haven't been that focused on Twins games. I don't know if the Athletics got to him or not. I think they only got 1 run on him, but I'll have to. I guess Athletics players might be screaming at me right now, but as far as I'm concerned, Tiberius Jr. has been near perfect when it comes to shutouts and shutout innings. I think he so far has the NL at least. But what do you guys think about the AL?
AL?
It's more up in the air.
Yeah, that's a lot more up in the air. I can't say I'm disappointed with Rob's performance because he's if he toned down the walks and the hits, I think he could be right in the conversation, but he's
number 1 in strikeouts, but also number 1 in earned runs, hits.
He's my pitcher, but he's letting guys on base and he is letting runs in.
In early game, I would have definitely said that Big Tuna was not only the best pitcher in the AL, but the best pitcher, period. The problem is, as far as I'm concerned, he's been kind of letting up the last few starts. Which has cost the Tigers. Because I think they
2 consecutive games.
To the Mets. Yeah, they just recently lost to the Mets. So, I mean, there was a big thing about the Tigers having only wins against teams without wins, and now they just lost to a team without a win. So and
they're playing that same team again too.
Are they? Are they playing the Mets?
Yes, I believe so.
No, they're not playing the Mets.
Are they not? Thought they were.
Mets are playing the A's.
Ooh.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Sorry, I saw the post game. Never mind. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, so the Tigers are playing the D-backs right now, which might help Tuna because despite their hot start, I think this is a good segue. They got blanked by the likes of rookie pitcher Tim Burr and the closing of once league laughing stock Hudson Quinn, who has recently really turned it on after his trade to the Twins, which might be a dismay for the Mets fans. What do you guys think about Burr?
I think he's really succeeding going into the bullpen. It's like Zach Britton is actually one of the best comparisons to that because starter he just couldn't do it. He couldn't turn it on. But you put him in the bullpen, you bring him out for 6 or 3 outs, and he's on fire. He will win you that game.
I think with the start of we'll see because Burr only pitched 3.1 innings and he was saved by Quinn. I want to see. I think this next game against the I'm umping this the Astros, which might be good for him because the Astros have been struggling recently. I think this next game as the Astros for Burr is going to be a very big thing for him to see if that was a fluke. Or if he could really throw out those numbers pretty well and cement himself as one of the best pitchers, I think he's pretty late into the game. But if he continues at least semi on this path for at least a few more sessions, I mean the AL is difficult when it comes to pitchers because a lot of them are close together. We've got Big Tuna, and we got South Shark in the wake of Big Tuna, and we got Rob Pancakes doing shit like setting strikeout records left and right. He's been good too. So as far as AL pitchers, this is going to be a very interesting race.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyone can win it, which is a beautiful part.
Yeah, it's the AL is very much up in the air right now. The MVPs are in the AL are a little more slimmed down, but the Cy Young is wide open, honestly. So it's anyone's game at this point. We still have a lot of baseball to play. Most in your if I know I'm almost kind of hijacking this a little bit in terms of topics, but I feel like we could talk
Go ahead.
some good stuff about this. In your opinion, who is going to improve the most out of the teams that just got a win or one of the 1-win teams? So one of the 1-win teams, who is going to make the playoffs this year out of them?
I think as far as what I've seen of a team in general, like with this game, it's hard to predict. So what we got to focus on is things like player participation and faces that you know around both the Discord and the subreddit. And I think with player participation and player morale, I think we might have to go with the Twins in that department. I think they've got a pitching core that's starting to show itself as competent and maybe even in the future as very good. So I think with that pitching core, if the offense can pick up, which it's shown glimmers of, because I mean as of now we got first overall pick Twinkie Power hitting a home run in his first at bat in session 6. So as far as that goes, I think if they can get that offense just to get this consistency, because if you saw that game, the Twins versus the Diamondbacks, they only scored 1 run, but the thing is that a lot of that had to do with their inability to score runs in scoring position and all their singles and smaller hits. So they got a lot of hits in that. I think they got about 8, and yet they only had 1 run, which is not very good for them. But if they can overcome that with the pitching core that's seeming to show itself with Quinn and Burr and their closer there, who I have not seen much of, and I haven't seen much good from him, but he does not have a very good sample size, so I'm not going to judge him too much. But I think they have a very good chance. But I'm not going to rule out just so you don't get mad at me. I'm not going to rule out. I'm not going to rule out Baltimore. Baltimore has a very good core with Newmer and Pancakes with when he's hot. He's very hot, and Merito is a very active person too in the community, and Sam Smith. I think if they can pick it up too, which they obviously have shown, they've shown that they can score a lot of runs. So
we just need to
pitching,
prevent runs.
If
Baltimore's
Pancakes
pitching gets hot, they can win.
If Rob can shut down teams, if he can strike out 12 without giving up 5 runs, that's going to be just huge for us, in my opinion. As you're saying with Twins, I think the Twins look good in terms of pitching. I think if they can turn on the offense, they're a very good team. They could easily come out top 3 team in the AL.
I think they just need better scouting. I think they need to work harder to predict these pitches. I think they need to work harder to see pitcher tendencies. And because I think they have the guys there that want to make it happen, so it's theirs for the taking. The wins are for the taking. They just have to go out there and get them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In terms of character, in terms of team participation, Twins have got it all. It's their offense hasn't produced very much recently. Like you said, they scored 1 run, but they still came out with the win. A win is a win, but you got to score more than 1 runs if you're going to win consistently against teams like Washington, teams like Atlanta, teams like Philadelphia, and even teams that started the season hot but are still good teams but have maybe lost a few, like the Tigers. But yeah, they just got to turn that offense on, and they can be a very deadly team. In terms of the Mets have got a couple good hitters.
The Mets have a very weird
They're in a weird limbo where they're probably, to put it nicely, the worst team in the league right now.
They've got a plateau.
They do. They have a platform that they can build off of. Toronto can be right up in there too. Sardinka, he's given up runs in the past few games, but he's proven that he can be a successful pitcher. They took a few tough breaks. That Arizona game, I believe their second Pirates game. They've lost 4 in a row at this point. You started the season 1-0 and
no, we started the season 0-1.
They started 0-1.
Oh, and then you beat the Pirates in the second session.
Yeah, we beat the Pirates in the second game.
I believe it was the first session. Tough early home run for the Pirates, and then they beat the Pirates. And then it's just been, like I said, a couple tough breaks for us against them. Huge win for us. The Grand Slam by Stratified coming back magically somehow.
Injuring himself in the process, too.
To play devil's advocate and not just tote my team all the time. It's a really tough break for Toronto there. They probably should have won that game if that didn't happen. They almost did. They did come back and tie it, and we had to walk them off in extra innings.
But gave me so much confidence. I was
they can be a special team. They've proven Lane Drew that he can really turn it on. I think that they get something kickstarted, and they can be a very good team. Ourselves, which is the last team that's 1-4, we're looking okay. Just need to turn on the offense, tone down the pitching a bit. We need to stop giving up runs, stop walking players. Our first 2 hitters are
a secondary pitcher.
Our first 2 hitters are very, very capable, very competent hitters. Clip is tied for second with a lot of people in walks. He can get on base consistently. Witt has proven. I think he got on base, except for last game, he got on base almost if not every game we played, either a hit or a walk. He's very good at both drawing walks and seeing the pitch and just not crushing the ball, but he can get those little bloops into the outfield and get on base. Smith, our first round pick, haven't lost hope in him at all. Still have the utmost confidence in him. I really believe in him as a hitter. He had a huge double in our first game, which we did end up losing to the Tigers. But that was our franchise first RBI from our star player Randy Numbers, who has been just monstrous for us. If we can just get behind him and put some runs on the board, and like I was talking to the guys earlier last week. I used to stop saying all the time. Jesus Christ. I just said it.
And you said it again.
We're not going to ring a bell every single time you say it. It's okay.
I need to get a bell now.
We had a couple home runs, and we just need to get on base for them because a lot of the home runs that he hit, a lot of the home runs that we hit as a team,
A lot of home runs in general
have been solo shots. So we just need to get on base ahead of him, and he can be a very lethal hitter. I think I said it again. Ladder Shark, he's a very, very competent hitter in my opinion. I think he's only played 2 games and he subbed in half of one. And he was the starter in a DH for one and walked off the Toronto Blue Jays.
You did walk us off
whose GM is right here. So I think he can emerge as he might take over in the top 5 spots. I did put him a little lower this week because like I said, he's only played a game and a half, and I'm trying to balance out the bottom half of the lineup, which I think our lineup could be very deadly if used properly because Muse Maniac, our catcher, who didn't get on base for, I think, 3 games and then hit his first career hit with a double, has also been very good at getting on base. I think he had 2 hits last game, if I am not mistaken. And I think if he gets on base, the bottom half of the lineup can also put up a lot of runs with Johnny Dickshot and Ladder Shark. And with the recent signing of Meerkat Timmons, we have someone who can actually hit. We have someone who's not just going to be an automatic out.
Yeah, that definitely is probably a big reason why the Orioles have been struggling so much, because they've had a few roster issues. They've had a very good and active core, but as far as like the fringe guys go, you guys have had a bit of trouble when it comes to keeping the players.
Well,
that stays around. Yeah, we got a lot of good players in the Wakes too. So
yeah, GMs
and teams, players who might not know what the GMs are doing behind the scenes. We have a good amount of players because I haven't officially announced this yet, but the expansion's pushed back from next session to the end of the season. We tried to discuss it. We tried to work something through. We couldn't find a way to work it in without hurting the players or hurting the game itself. So we've decided to keep it back. We decided to push it back, and so with that being said, we still have we have a good dozen guys who do not have a team right now. So we're in the works of working out where to give them homes. We're not going to exactly put them in free agency because we have situations like the Orioles where we had to give Meerkat Timmons to them. We have situations where teams need players, and to keep the current teams healthy and to make sure everyone's healthy and everyone's working well, everyone's active, and these games go quicker, we're going to be dishing these players out one by one in order of what these teams need. So hopefully we see an increase in activity. We should be seeing quicker games because of that ends the new rule that games can't go past 2 weeks. So hopefully we see some good improvements in the quality of the game with these new players, and hopefully we don't see a lot of those 12-hour strikeouts that we've been seeing so much of recently. But
absolutely.
I wanted to go into specifically. I wanted to start going down the line for session 6, and I wanted to hear your guys' take on game by game. We're gonna see what the predictions are for each game. I know we kind of touched on some of them, but I think it'd be good to explore these teams deep in sort of the showdown sense, to explore these teams versus each other and see what their weaknesses what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and how they face off against each other. So I'm going to go down the list of where the schedules are, and I know, and we talked a little bit about them, but the Orioles versus a team that we haven't talked much about, which is the Braves, and I wanted to bring them up. The Braves got a very extremely good that has really shown themselves to be better than teams like the Nationals and the Phillies who haven't versed yet. So we have yet to see their full potential, but we got people like CJ Bastion, who is hitting 455 right now, and who has gotten 2 home runs. And 4 RBIs. He's really working up the the charts right now. So what do you guys think of the Braves offense?
I think they're a pretty potent offense because not just CJ Bastion, but Jake Blee also has 2 home runs.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's working his way up the charts. He has 5 RBI actually, so more than Jake Bastion. So that's pretty impressive.
They're a potent. Seeing it from the standpoint of the opposing GM of the team they're playing, they're a potent offense in my opinion. They are not too far one way or not too far the other. They'll get on base as like you can see here, 556 for Cal Tiberius, he can get on base. He can hit the ball pretty darn well. So it's not like they're gonna get on base and not drive in runs, but it's not like they're gonna hit a home run and then not be able to get on base the rest of the game. Very explosive offense, solid pitching too. It's backed up by some good pitching.
Cal Tiberius Jr., who we were talking about earlier for possible
Cy Young. He might get
absolutely. It. He's a solid pitcher, and I'm not, because I haven't seen the roster yet, I'm not entirely sure who's starting between Junks Tandem and Cal Tiberius, but boy, it's going to be tough going against either one of them because they both have 2 wins. Junks has 1 loss, but they're still performing very well, the both of them, because they both have 9 Ks. Junks has a quite a bit higher ERA, but that's manageable. Braves can very much come and back that up, even if he does give up a couple runs. Not high walk totals. Junks does have 2 home runs against, 17 hits, 16 for Cal Tiberius. It's a very, very manageable stat line that they can win games with, but it's a team I don't see many weaknesses in, and if I had to pick out one, it would probably be their catcher, Y.E. Wally, who hasn't been hitting fantastically. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk.
Yeah, 2 hits,
no
and 13
runs,
at-bats.
No runs driven in, a double, and 2 hits. It's
been bleak for him.
He's someone that isn't necessarily going to be a liability in their lineup. Their second baseman as well, Jill Metz, he's hitting 182. Yeah. There's 2 guys who probably, I'd say they're very likely not necessarily a crutch, but they're not someone who's going to really contribute to the offense. But there's not a lot of weaknesses to this Braves team, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think Y.E. Wally is definitely a weakness, and Gil Metz going into this game against the Orioles, and also another weakness is the fact that Junks Tandem. I've been told that I haven't been told that he's out of the game altogether, but I've heard he's taken some sort of hiatus. So as of now, they do have 1 pitcher apparently, which is a little bit of a problem for them. But yeah, there's the likes of C.J. Bastian. Sadler Oriole has had a pretty good start.
Yes, Orioles fan. I was looking at that guy, and I'm a little disappointed I didn't take him now. But you live with the hand you're dealt. So
this is something you've got going for you in the off season. But yeah, we also have Charles Lindbergh, who has 5 hits and 14 at bats. He has one home run, which is more than a lot of people. But that's his only RBI, which is a problem for him. So he might need to get that up. But he's a power lefty, which has shown itself a rare commodity, and a commodity at that, with some GMs going for power lefties, especially in a lot of the trade talks going in the GM lounge. But yeah, the Braves are good. We've talked about the Orioles. A very strong core. So I guess we'll go down the line. I'll start with you, Stone, who's been sitting in the back there. Who do you think is going to win Baltimore versus Braves? And if you want to, you can give a score just for fun.
Oh, well, yeah.
There he is. There he is.
It's just that I keep getting cut off. But I still think it's going to be. I think it's kind of tough for me. I still think it's definitely going to be a Braves win, but I'd like to see what happens with the game, how far it goes.
Yeah, with the Orioles, I really wanted to. I thought they were in place for a good upset against the Nationals in session 4-3. I think that was 4. Yeah, it was 4.
Yes, the last game. Yes. Before the Toronto game, yeah.
So they just barely got there. I think they've got what it takes. I think the Braves have definitely got. They're definitely favorites. But okay, how about you, Dom? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win? Your homerism is allowed. Who do you think is going to win? And
homerism is allowed.
And what's the score? You think?
I'm going to give you a little detail to my decision. So if you look at the walk totals, we have 10 walks as a team. 2 from Johnny Dickshot, 3 from Clip, 3 from Burn BP, and 1 from Wit. We have maybe not the greatest hitters in the world. No, listen. Maybe we don't. But I'd say we have about 4 guys who are gonna do some damage, because these are 4 guys that are really gonna probably help carry the offense and help the guys behind them who are hitting, and then they're gonna drive them in. So I think Ludvan Shark, I think he's gonna have a good game, because he's played 3 games, but he only has 6 plate appearances. I don't think that the Braves, if they do scout this game, are going to have a very good beat on him. And I think he's already kind of had his coming out party, but I think if there's one game where he's going to surprise a lot of people, it's this game. Randy Numbers, the rock of the offense, I think he could easily do some damage as well. It doesn't seem like he has any weaknesses against any form of pitching. He's just been mashing the whole season. He hasn't been really bad against anyone. Whit Murdo, leadoff hitter, he's very solid and consistent, to say the least. He's a guy it's okay. He's gonna at least get a hit, or he's gonna get on base. He's gonna do something this game, so we should be okay. Clip right behind him can get a walk. If Witt gets a single, he can advance him to second, and then that opens up something for Sam Smith, who, granted, hasn't been hitting fantastically, but if he does get the bat on the ball, he's as a power hitter, he has a very good chance of hitting it out of the park. So if you can get those 2 guys, 2 or 3 guys, because there are 3 guys, he's hitting the 4 spot. There are 3 guys ahead of him. If you can get those on base, or even if Randy Numbers can get a run in, so it's early 1-0 lead, and then Smith can hit a double and score another run, it's something that can gain a lot. It's an offense that can gain a lot of momentum really fast, and we still have yet to see Meerkat Timmons in his debut, so who knows what he'll do. I don't even know what he'll do.
Yeah, okay, so what do you
I'm gonna say it's a high-scoring game. I'm gonna give Robot Pancakes. I'm gonna say he gets 4 runs against, but he strikes out 9.
I have a point on that, actually.
And I'm going to say the Orioles edge out the Braves in a 5-4 win, similar to last week. And I'm going to say the MVP of the game is going to be Ludvan Shark.
All right.
I've got to say, I'm going to give it to the Braves, because as you talked about your Orioles, their strikeouts, if you look at the Braves roster, they're a team that doesn't strike out a lot. I don't think they have that many strikeouts in total, and Robert Pancake, I guess I'm just used to looking at my team. All the numbers seem small compared to that, but they don't seem to strike out a lot. So if Robert Pancakes is on his game and striking players out, I think the Orioles have it, but I think the Braves are going to manage to eke out a small victory.
To be fair, the Braves have 23 strikeouts and the Orioles have 16. So
that is true. If
you're going to want to talk about guys who are making an effort at the plate and they're not just letting balls fly by them, this is a team that can do it.
Yeah, but 23 strikeouts, if you look through the league, for comparison,
I have that number in 3 players.
Toronto has 36. The Nationals, who are seen as one of the best, if not the best team in the league, is 27 strikeouts. So I don't know if it's necessarily a game of the Braves being bad when it comes to strikeouts, but more of the Orioles being very good when it comes to strikeouts. But the thing, well, first let's go back to Mattis, and what do you think is going to be the score if the Braves do win?
I'm going to say the Braves are going to take it. I think they're going to take it 5-3 off a strong pitching performance, not a strong, but a medium pitching performance from Tiberius Jr., because that's one person we haven't talked about at all that much in this game's context. Because he
hasn't been in the spotlight where he should be, in my opinion. I'm definitely not the most comfortable person in the world to play against him, because we haven't seen him. We don't know what he's going to come out with, and hopefully we can pull out the W. I mean, I don't necessarily. I want it to be a good lock as a win, but it's a team that I don't think anyone can have a good lock of a win against.
Well, I'm gonna off by saying my opinion, and I think it was interesting when Dom brought up the walk ratio when it comes to the Orioles, who are good at who are good at walks. The thing is, the Braves, especially early on in the game, they've been the best team at walks. I don't know where they are in terms of other teams right now, but they do have 15 walks right now, and their third baseman, Phil Coulson, who we haven't talked about a lot, he's a really strong player, and he leads the league in walks. So when we're talking about a pitcher like Rob Pancakes, who gives up a lot of walks, this might not be a good matchup for him if he continues on that route. Personally, I think both offenses are pretty tight locked. So when we go to pitchers like Tiberius Jr., who has pitched very Cy Young award capable, and we go to pitchers like Rob Pancakes, who has shown glimmers of competence and glimmers of excellence, but has also shown dark spots in his game, I think the Braves have this one. I still think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think the Braves have it 6-4.
Yeah, like you said, I have to completely agree with you on Rob there. 20 walks. If the Braves get out to an early lead by drawing a few walks and getting a few hits, the game can get very, very easily out of our hands very, very quickly.
All right, well let's go on to, now we got that down. It seems like
game.
Yeah, this is already past the hour mark. I thought we'd be done by now, which is really good because we've had a lot to talk about.
A lot of content.
Yeah, a lot of good talking.
It's been very fun.
For the first time, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go down to the next game, which is D-backs versus Tigers. Both these teams are coming off of some tough losses. The D-backs got shut out by the previously winless Twins, while the Tigers got walked off by the previously winless Mets, who you, Dom, have called the worst team in the league so far. But let's go back to Stone. If you could offer some insight, or if you just want to give a full score, who do you think is going to win, the D-backs or the Tigers?
Well, I was looking. Let me start over. You hear about this Arizona offense and how it's all so good and it's amazing, and I was like, "There's no way. Everyone's got to be insane." I'm looking at the numbers now. It's nuts. I never imagined that this team hits 314. Like, you got
that's impressive. They have
hipster.
How many hitters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 hitters hitting well over 300.
Yeah. Like I was saying, you got Varying Hipster, who I knew that he was pretty good, but 583 is like amazing.
Exactly.
He doesn't walk either, so I think that's pretty good. Obviously,
7 hits. That's pretty ridiculous.
Team, to be honest.
The interesting thing about this Diamondbacks team is not only Varying Hipster doesn't walk, the entire team doesn't walk. They have 3 walks in total over 5 games, compared to 15 from Braves.
2 of those are from the same person in Willpower.
Yeah, but who do you think's gonna win? Oh, well, we have to go to the Tigers too. The Tigers.
Oh, the Tigers.
Yeah.
I think I already know who I'm picking for this game. I know why.
You want us to go back to you?
I'd say it's a bit tough, but Big Tune has been a little bit down recently, so I think it could definitely be close. But I think I'm gonna go with Arizona.
Okay. Do you have a score just for fun?
Maybe like the ballpark of 4-3 or so.
Okay, 4-3. That's a pretty close game. It'd be good if it's that exciting. All right, so Dom, what do you think?
I'm gonna completely agree with Stone Steel on this, but I feel a little bit more strongly about how dominant that Arizona is going to be in this game. Tigers have lost 2 in a row. Their morale is down. I know what it's like to have your morale down. You don't want to play the next game. When you're 0-4, you don't want to play the next game. But when you lose 2 in a row, that's rough, especially when you start 3-0. The team, solid offense, pretty much on that Arizona level. Not bad at all, but doesn't seem like they're being carried by any specific person. Average is nowhere near. Well, I mean, it's actually pretty close. It's 20. Actually, that's a lot. So it's not necessarily nowhere near, but it's when you have a difference of the Arizona Diamondbacks I said tweeting because I saw them tweet. The Arizona Diamondbacks having a 314 average versus the Tigers having 291 average. Like you said, the Diamondbacks don't walk. And you know why that is? Because they get hits and they get on base because they're a good team. Big Tuna's probably going to have a down game, and I'm just going to give this to Arizona. I'm going to say 6-2.
Yeah, I would have to. When we're comparing offenses, we see the Diamondbacks definitely have a better offense than the Tigers, especially I guess not especially recently because they had a little bit of a rough patch, which definitely I think speaks wonders about this team's stats so far. The fact that they got shut out and they still are repping a 314 average and hitters like Varing Hipster who has a 583 average. And so when we look at offense, I think that the Diamondbacks just barely poke through. And we also see when we look at pitchers, I mean, Big Tuna, at one point he was repping the best numbers in the league. But now that the league's kind of matured, now that the numbers have kind of gone to a little bit more realistic, a little more telling numbers than they were a few sessions ago, we see someone like Einhorn who came in a little late, but in his games that he has started has shown himself to be a very, very good pitcher. He had one bad inning in his only loss that cost him the win, but he was dominant the whole way throughout. He gave up little hits here and there, but he was able to compose himself and get through the game. I think the Diamondbacks, despite the memes, despite the jokes like, haha, they're the best offense, they do have a very, very good offense. And I think that it's safe to say that it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Diamondbacks will get the Tigers and get the Tigers good. I'm predicting, 6-3, 7-3, 7-4. I think it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark. I think the Tigers need to regroup. I think the Tigers need to get that morale up, and I don't think it's there right now. And I don't think it's enough to beat this Diamondbacks ball club.
I've got to agree with you 100% there. I think the Diamondbacks are going to win, and it's going to be huge. I feel like the Tigers, they're a good team. They don't really have any holes.
Yeah,
big team.
Guys like the wonderful BB Bambino Jr., who's the best hitter in all of the major leagues. I'm just saying that because he just DM'd me to talk good about him.
I mean, their pitching has been good. A 2.2 ERA and a 1.13 WHIP is excellent. But I feel like the Diamondbacks are just going to be able to win, and I feel like they're going to be able to put up big numbers against them. I'm going to say Rico Hipster is going to have a huge game. I'm predicting maybe 3 for 3, 4 for 4. I think he's going to keep his average up there because right now he's really, really hitting well. If this is a jinx, well, I'm sorry. But
yeah, it seems like we lost Dom for a little bit. I don't know if he's going to come back or not. But
he'll be back.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah, but so far it seems like a consensus. Right, Stone, you said that the Diamondbacks would win?
Yeah.
All right, so it seems like a consensus that the Diamondbacks are going to pull through against the Tigers, and it's not to disparage the Tigers all the way because we haven't talked about them a lot, but we got Bambino Jr. who has a respectable 286 average, which is around the team average. He has 2 RBIs. I think he could bring that up. I think he might have a good game going in with the Diamondbacks because the thing to look out for him is that he hasn't had a strikeout yet. And he's versing a strikeout pitcher. If he can, so we're sort of reaching a dilemma with the unmovable object versus the unstoppable force, where it's like there's one pitcher who's very good at strikeouts, and there's one batter who's good at not striking out at all. So that would be a very interesting matchup. I don't know who's going to win that one, but it's definitely going to be very interesting to see. But also, we've neglected hitters like Otis Nixon Sr. and Mason Spurs, who have both had very respectable seasons so far with 364 averages. They're actually pretty identical with 364 averages and 417 OBPs. But, I mean, this Tigers lineup is not bad. KC9 is also pretty good. They're pretty consistent throughout, but I think you need more than just consistency. With 2 outs, with 2 losses in your corner in your last 2 games, I think you need more than consistency here.
The Tigers started 3-0, and you don't start 3-0 by chance. So they have a good team and they have the chance to win, but it's just I don't think they're going to do it this week against, I'm going to say, an even better team in Arizona.
They got through some easy games early on, and now they're starting to get some hard games against like Philadelphia and against Arizona. And I don't know exactly, especially since they squandered a game against the Mets. I don't see them exactly having what it takes to beat the Diamondbacks. But so it seems like that's gonna. It might prove us wrong because
they could prove us wrong.
Yeah,
I could have jinxed them horribly.
It's not out of the realm of possibility with a Tigers team as solid as that for the game to go completely in the opposite direction, and for Einhorn to or I actually don't know who's pitching in that Arizona game. Einhorn, I don't know. I have to go check that, but Einhorn,
I can check that.
Kidd, if it's Sid Kidd, he's it's hard to judge Sid Kidd. Sid Kidd did give up 8 runs in his first start, so it wasn't exactly his best day. He did end up getting a save though in a later game, but yeah, he versed the Nats in the big 8-5 blowout if I remember correctly. So if they start Sid Kidd, the Tigers may have more of a chance.
Yeah.
So
I definitely see it going either way, but I think it's going to be Arizona.
So let's move on to the next game, which is Nationals Pirates, which is going to be a very interesting thing. Has the Pirates game ended yet, Stone?
No. I'm going to go check that right now.
Where is
actually that game? 2 outs. We're waiting on the batter. Still. On Nationals Pirates, do you want me to be me or do you want me to be honest?
Be you.
Yeah, Dom was him, so like with the Orioles, so be you.
I don't care who it is that the Pirates are winning. It's obvious.
Makes sense.
There's
no way.
Tell me a little bit about them. Tell me why they deserve to win this thing, win it big.
Well, first off, there's me.
Yeah.
I think that I have had one of the hottest starts. Maybe the only 2 people in the entire league that have had hotter starts than me are Van Vactor and Balls for Detroit. I kind of want to see how he's going to do in this next game. But after them is me. I had a tough time with Woozy, I'll admit that. But I'm going to turn things around. I promise. I got this. Don't worry.
You got a podcast first here. He's going to turn things around. It's a promise.
There's always Johnny Hopkins. He's hitting 5. I don't know if that's accurate, but as of before the Astros game, he's hitting 500, which is also pretty hot.
10 ABs.
I think with this current lineup we got, and with the egregious hand matchup, because we're entirely righties except for Jimmy Johns, I think we've got a really good shot at it.
Yeah, you also have Hopkins, who's a lefty, and he's obviously, as you said, he's been pretty good. Johns needs a little bit more of a push with his. Well, has he had a hit in the Astros game?
I think so.
At least he broke that, if that's true.
I'm going to check right now.
Yeah, I guess I'll keep talking. But yeah, we also have Darth Vader, who's shown himself to be kind of hit or miss, but he's really picked it up recently with his
stat line is quite nice too. So
yeah, last time I umped him, he didn't have the greatest game because I remember him giving up a lot of walks, but that was a while ago. So I assumed he'd pick it up. He's kind of notorious now, at least from Admiral's stance of being a slow pitcher. But that might, I mean, a lot of pitchers are slow. A lot of pitchers take a while on the mound.
Schoolboy.
He's third in the league in strikeouts, so he strikes people out a lot.
Yeah, I need more when I'm talking about a pitcher. Yeah, he's as far as pitchers go, he's one of the better ones. There's a lot of good pitchers in this league, though, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I think the Pirates do need to. I think they have a lot of holes. I think that's the problem. They got a lot of good players, but they also have a lot of players that have not started well, which is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I checked on the Jimmy Johns thing, and yeah, he had one hit.
All right, so good for him. So that should. I mean, like what he has right now is a small sample size, so he could very well like boost that 0 average to like a very respectable, very high average in like no time flat. I know he's active though, and I know he's a lefty, which is very good in a lineup with a lot of righties. So I guess we need to talk about the Nationals, who at one point were the team. They were the unbeatable team, and then there was the Session 5 game against some random team that I don't know much about. But but they still got that 325 average and good bounce back. Hey man, what's up?
Oh, I am. I sure am. Sorry, I had to take a phone call.
We just talked. You haven't missed much because we talked more about the Detroit and Arizona game, and we just went a little more into Detroit, and basically all unanimously said that Tigers would win. But now we're going into.
I think we said the D-backs would win. Actually,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, I said dominant D-backs win 6-2.
Yeah, we got them. We had them pretty high, though the Tigers could prove us wrong. But we're currently talking about the Nationals versus the Pirates, and I was just talking about the Pirates definitely have a lot of good hitters, but they also have a lot of bad hitters. They have a few good holes. They have an average that is just above 250. They have a very, very good pitcher, but I think they might need another pitcher in the future. I don't think Jakob Yevens.
Pitcher, really.
Yeah, Jakob Yevens is come back. He's slow to say the least, but they've got themselves some good qualities, but they have a lot of righties, not a lot of lefties. So.
The most righties on one team in the league, I think, or maybe the least lefties on one team.
Yeah,
I think I also have quite a few righties. I think I only have 2 lefties.
Yeah, Pitt only has 2 lefties.
You include Pancakes. Yeah, we were talking about now we went into Nationals, and we were just saying, I was just starting to say that, talk about their average, their 325 team average.
It's
not
ridiculous.
A bad team in any retrospect. Like, how about them pitchers? Like Jayyburdd, who still reps a 1.57 ERA, despite he just barely makes the pitching mark, though, with the 7 2/3 innings pitched. Which is, we definitely need to see more from him, which we will see in this Pirates game. But if the Pirates want to win, they need to better a pitcher who has not really shown himself. He's shown himself to be good, but he's not shown himself to be consistent because he's only been in 3 games. He's only started 1, and in one of those 3 games, he did give up a few runs. He gave up 2 runs. So if the Pirates are going to win, and without Moyer gone, if the Pirates want to win, I guess Bedia is the best chance they've got.
The Pirates need to put up a very good game to put up a very good team because the Nationals have 23 runs as a team, 7 home runs, or like you said, they're hitting 325, which if I'm correct, unless the Phillies have a higher, that's the highest team batting average in the league.
The Phillies do have higher.
The Phillies do have higher. The Phillies are hitting 336.
So everyone came to correct
the second highest batting average in the league. Very, very good team. Their catcher is just a monster, probably currently the best player on their team. They're looking good, and they're going to be tough to beat, and the Pirates need to put up a very good game if they're going to have a chance to beat the Washington Nationals.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think that the Nationals, a bit like the Pirates, are an amazing team, but they have quite a few holes as well. Like, their average is higher than Arizona, despite the fact that Arizona has so many more hitters that are hitting above 300. Because they have Mila Grams, who's hitting 571, which is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
They have Chad Barrett, who's hitting 500. and Rusty Wilbur, who's hitting 375. So
they also have Gene Henning, who's hitting 467,
and Bo Kinsler, who's hitting 400. So those are 5 guys who are all hitting crazy. But then they also have people like Donnie Linsanty, who's hitting 0.
I think if Pirates have a chance, they definitely need to shut down Grams, and they probably need to shut down. Larry Wayne's a threat for driving in runs, but maybe not necessarily getting on base. But
and they need to make the
Henning and Grams, they need to really, really get a handle of, or that game it's gonna be a bad game.
And they need to make the most of the struggles of the chinks in the Nationals' armor, which are players like Osmosis Jones and
our very own stat guy,
and
Donnie Lindsay,
Herrera O-doubles, like guys like that who they typically put at the bottom of their of their starting lineup. They definitely need to make sure that those guys don't hit, because if you're getting the guys who have not been hitting well, if they're hitting against you, I mean, what are guys like Milo Grams?
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, what are guys like Milo Grams going to do? And even though Bedia is pitching, we can't be sure that they're not going to go to Hildebrandt to close out the game, who had a bad game against the Phillies, but other than that, he's been very good. And I think one bad game's not going to necessarily define him. I think he's going to go out and be very hard to bat against.
The two of them are virtually interchangeable as the national starter. Either one of them can come in and close a game out, and either one of them can start that game.
One person for the Nationals that I have a personal interest in to see how he's going to play, because I believe he's starting, is Nathaniel Booth.
I wanted to ask you about him. I wanted to get your opinion on the guy you traded for it.
Well, it was more my fault than his, because I was trying to get him into games, but I never really had the roster spot or the place to put him. Oh, we lost. He's back.
There he is.
I never really had the place to put him. So we've been having some pitching struggles recently, and I think everybody knows that. After the Grand Slam, I really had to do something. But so I went out and traded for Timland, or Timothy Moyer, one of my all-time favorite names now. But I had to trade Nathaniel Booth to do it, and that really hurt, because he is a lefty power hitter, like we were talking about earlier, and they're
very hot commodity.
But he just wasn't getting the starts on my team, so I traded him to a team that I know he'll get starts. He's a decent guy. Like, he's going to be active, and I think he's going to start for the Nationals. I think if he gets hot, they're going to blow Pittsburgh out.
I think the Nationals, I think one of the things you definitely have to laud about them is the cunning and the ability from their GM McFrizzle and Osmosis Jones, who I'm pretty sure has acted as sort of as like a right-hand man to him. They've really.
I'm sure even with Osmosis Jones's not necessarily his poor performance, I'm sure he's very much a leader in that locker room.
Definitely.
And he's given it his all every game. Like having a captain, like I promoted Johnny Dickshot. Guy might not. He had a very clutch double that actually ended up. The next hitter, Van Shark, drove in the lead. The Burn BP, who was the runner placed on second, but Johnny got him over. He's a guy who can hit in clutch situations, the same as Osmosis Jones. He's a guy who's going to lead, and he's going to give morale to that locker room. And if they're down, he's the guy that's going to bring them back up.
Yeah, and I think I need to laud the fact that Frizzle has created such a complete lineup. Because if you look through these hitter types, these hands,
it's not the logo. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Sorry.
They have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, someone opened my door. Sorry, but if you see batter types, if you see hands, like they're very complete. Let's say. Sorry about the noise outside. I got some minutes. But But basically, they have a very complete game, complete team here that basically covers everything you can think of. They got a neutral lefty, they got neutral righty, they got contact lefties, they got contact righties, they got a power lefty now, they got a power righty. And they got a lefty and righty pitcher. I mean, they completely manually from a draft where you basically have luck. They've twisted their team, and they've sort of made it into a team that's so perfectly rounded that it's just it has to be lauded, because I think it's just incredible how they made that so well. But enough fangirling over the Nationals the Nationals roster. Let's go back to Stone Stealing. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win this game, and maybe a score?
To be honest, I feel like there's almost like a tale of two games here, where I could see Pitt winning a very, very close game, maybe like a 4-3. But if Washington gets the lead early, like if they get like a good 3-4 runs early, I think that they could just bring in Hildebrandt and shut down the rest of the lineup because of their severe lack of lefties. So I guess you either have like maybe 3-2 Pittsburgh if they get ahead and never give up, or
Yeah,
potentially like 4-1 or even more than 4.
I've 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 lauded the Nationals in many forms, but I'm not when it comes to predictions. Necessarily the best team's not going to win all the time, and I think with the morale of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they've shown one of the biggest wills to win, and one of the biggest enthusiasms when it comes to teams. I think them versus a pitching staff who got blown up in a disastrous last inning against the Phillies, and I think just with the weight of that one loss, I think this could be a skid. I think this could very well be a skid for the Nationals, and I don't think it does not necessarily mean they're going to do it. I could be very wrong. The Nationals could come up firing, could come up hitting, could come up being like, okay, it's just one loss. We're gonna survive this. But I think with the morale of the Pirates rallied behind the great pitching of Vader, I think that the Pirates could pull through and win a close one. I think this is going to be like a 3-1 game, like a 4-1, like you said. I think Vader's gonna suppress them. I think the Nationals might come out swinging initially and just die out, or I just think, because the Nationals are very bursty, so they could come out swinging in the beginning. They could come out swinging in the end. I think they're going to have a big inning, only get one run from it, maybe two, and I think the Pirates are going to be able to scavenge to get this one, get a win out of this, and I think they might win about 4-1. But how about you, Mattis? What do you think?
I can see it going either way. If the Pirates start strong out of the gate, have a good pitching performance, and get a couple runs early, I could see them locking it down. On the flip side, though, I can see this getting out of hand very quickly. The Nationals were considered the best team, or the team, for a long time, and for good reason, too. Their offensive stats are pretty insane. Their pitchers are up there, some of the better ones in the league, and they can shut you out or blow you out, either way. So I'm going to have to give this one to the Nationals. I'm going to say going to be about maybe 4-2, maybe 5-2, in that range.
All right, so we've got basically the same sort of range going on here. I don't know if Dom is readily available right now. He's muted on Discord. If he is, he can interject. But for now, I think we've got a pretty good consensus there. I think we can go on to the next game here, which is Twins at Astros. And basically, I think what we're seeing here is an interesting balance of a team that was bad early on, that's sort of shown a glimmer of hope, versus a team that was good early on, that's sort of shown a glimmer of, or not so much a glimmer as a dark abyss,
Total collapse,
a possible long skid, because they've been losing a lot. And I think, well, let's see what Stone Steel thinks. What do you think about this matchup?
Jeezy Pete's, who knew my house would be so popping at 9:30?
Sorry, we just assumed you were busy. I guess for just really quickly go over Nationals Pirates. Who do you think is going to win? What score?
Oh, I'm gonna say it's actually gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be a pretty low scoring game. I think Darth Vader's probably gonna do a good job of shutting down the Nationals' big hitters. And I think Jayyburdd can also do a good job of shutting down the Pirates hitters. And I'm actually going to give this. I don't know if it's the upset of the week, but I'm gonna give the Pirates a 2-1 win.
Well, it's not really. It might be an upset, but I think you're pretty much in consensus with most of us. Stone and I picked the Pirates.
I am kind of biased, to be honest.
A little bit. Only a little bit, though.
Only a little bit. I said I'm going to turn it around.
No, I really do like the Pirates in this matchup. Washington did get hammered by Philly, and I think that could have bruised their mental state, and they might not feel very confident. And I think this could be a game where they start a downswing, or they can prove me wrong and they can continue to be one of the best teams, or they can not. The Pirates can take this.
An upswing for them because they were facing Philly, which outside
pretty good team
themselves, one of the best teams in the entire game. Like I think that can go without a doubt. And now they have a Pirates team that they're winning. They're not as good. A lot of people would say. Some people would put them lower, even though they have one of the best records in the league. This might be their chance to beat up on a team that can be perceived as good, but they have an advantage against. Is my point.
Okay, so
looks like I'm the only one for the Nationals then.
No.
There seems like a.
Oh wait, yeah, Nationals. Yeah.
Right, so back to at Astros right now. Kind of losing my voice right here, so maybe I won't talk as forcefully. But Twins at Astros. This is going to be a very interesting, similar duel of morale versus morale, bad morale versus good morale. And I was about to ask Stone, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, I'm looking at the spreadsheet right now, and I'm thinking, at least in terms of average, they could be doing a lot better. Kind of seems pretty bleak to me. I mean, there's Cal who's hitting 500, which is pretty good. Bobman's hitting 385, 351. I don't know where that came from. But other than that, like, a lot of their hitters either don't really have a lot of data to go on. Like, Hankey is hitting 500, but he's only played in one game. And the rest of the team is pretty poor and average-wise, which I think is kind of unfortunate. I'd like to see what Quinn can do, though, because he's been pretty good so far in a Twins uniform. I definitely say out of that trade, the Twins already have capitalized, considering what Streaker's doing compared to what Quinn has done. But I'm not so sure that they quite have what it takes against the Astros. It might be a close one though, I think.
Astros have had a very interesting few games recently where it seems like they come so close, yet they just come so far. The thing is, it's hard to judge the Astros with the game that's going on right now because it's not the Session 5 game because it's not over. They could come back, and it seemed, as far as I saw...
I don't think so.
Apparently, the Astros are saying that they're going to bring this thing to extras, which is something we all clearly want to see.
I totally think that's...
Oh yeah, we totally all want to see another extra inning game.
Yeah.
Especially that one.
I'd like to remind you guys really quickly that that Session 5 started with the first wild card game against the Twins and Yankees, and now we're going into the World Series with the end of the NLCS. So
that is one long session.
It's been going on for a while, so they very well could, and that's so it's judge the Astros fully, but what I've seen from their pitching staff is it's just so good until an opportunity presents itself to shut the team out for good. They just the opponent out for good. They just don't really seem to get that.
Can't finish.
They don't seem to be able to finish that game, and they keep losing because of it. So as far as the Astros are concerned, and when you look at Twins and Astros when it comes to average, they're pretty. Twins are down about 20 points. The Astros, but the Astros have a little bit more of a well-rounded team when it comes to average, but they still have a lot of 167 averages, 200 averages, and I'm not sure exactly what the addition of William Constantine will bring, except maybe a relief from the less than good start of Lemmy Frazier of Woolham. So it seems like it's a two teams that have a lot of glaring issues. I think the Astros, when it comes to pitching, still better, I think, than the Twins, just slightly. I think the Twins have a lot more to bring to the table. All their pitchers seem very new when it comes to Timber, who pitched 3 1/3 innings.
Well, yeah, if you just take a look at that ERA from the Twins, I understand that Quinn, when he was in Minnesota, he did not have any good games essentially, but you gotta tone that down if you're gonna have success against other teams in the league.
But all their pitchers seem new. All their pitchers seem
Pablo has a 5.15 ERA.
Even if that's in less than 5 innings, so it's just like all their pitchers seem new. It's just like Quinn's new to the team and he's been good since then. Sanchez, he's been pretty bad, but I mean,
and Burr had a very good outing last time.
Yeah, he just needs to prove that wasn't a fluke. But as far as the team goes, I mean, I think the Twins, the Astros, what the difference is that the Twins are definitely on. They were in the bottom of the barrel, and then they've just been rising steadily, while the Astros were at the top. They had a pretty good offense that was feared, and then they've just been slowly falling and falling and falling. So I really like the Twins just as a team in general. I've already proclaimed them as my AL team, so I think there's a little bit of a bias here. But I think with that morale, with that tightly knit team, and with that upswing that they've been experiencing, especially in pitching, where they've basically turned Quinn, who's basically involved in a chain of trades that started with trading away Chad Barrett, which was a big mistake, and now they have Quinn, who they got more or less for James Earl Pones, who they got from the Barrett trade. But I think now they have Quinn, who I think they're turning into a very quality pitcher, and they've got a core of bats who seems to be in the upswing. I think that the Twins are going to take the Astros. I think it's going to be a close game like it always is with the Astros. I think the Astros are going to strike pretty firmly, but I think the Twins are going to rally behind a pretty good pitching staff, and I think the Astros are going to strike firmly with about 2, maybe 3 runs. I think the Twins are going to pull out with a 1-run lead, win this thing 3-2, 4-3.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think this is. I like the Twins here, actually. They come off this win. I think they have a lot of confidence going in. I think they're going to take it. Like, if you look at both of these teams offensively, they are just abysmal. 9 runs all season for the Astros and 6 for the Twins, respectively. Neither of these teams have been off to a good offensive start. Earlier, the Astros, like you said, were a force to be reckoned with, but they've been on the downswing. Neither team is necessarily hitting for average very well. It's looking like it could be a battle of pitching, is what I see right now. But I'm gonna say, because Twinkie Power led off with his home run, I'm gonna say he's gonna win MVP with a shutout for the Twins. Well, not MVP, but he's gonna win Player of the Game with a shutout for the Twins, 1-0. Only score is this Twinkie Power home run.
Keep in mind that the Astros 9 runs is through 4 sessions. They've scored 4 more, but that was off of 1 swing against Pittsburgh. So I still don't see them scoring a lot, I'd imagine. So I'm sorry. I'd think I could see like 1-0, like you said, or 2-1, maybe 2-0. I think that Minnesota's probably got this, but it's definitely going to be a close game. Probably pretty fun to watch too, I'd imagine.
If we go by trends when it comes to the Astros, I think of a good thing that could happen or very good possibility of happening is that the Twins lead it into the sixth. I'm sorry, into the sixth, and then Buck Cheeks ties it with a homer, as is customary with that guy. Who can forget that session 1 2-run homer to tie it with the Diamondbacks and win it. I mean, the Astros, they just have history of just getting so close, yet just so far, and I just think that the Twins are going to win. But how about you, Manus? Did you speak yet? Sure.
I haven't spoken yet, but I actually have a completely opposite opinion to pretty much everybody yet again. I really see Houston taking this. I think
he's either taking it dominantly or in a low score.
Not a dominant lead, but a good enough lead. I think that, Houston's pitching has been good, and sure, their offense hasn't been great, but neither is Minnesota's pitchers.
Oh, yeah, I have to agree with that.
I feel like
I
the pitchers...
can't help but agree with that.
I'm not sure if it's going to be the offense is bad or the pitchers are worse. It's going to be whichever. It's going to be one of those.
It's going to be a game of who sucks more.
I think the Houston offense will recover from this Twinkie Power home run, which is quite good news, actually, because I heard that there were some rumors he might have been retiring, but it seems that he's back in full force and hitting home runs as he does it.
Yeah, I'm glad he is. Well, okay, well, give me a score then. What do you think it's going to be?
I got to say, Houston takes it 3-1.
3-1.
Oh, I thought you said 30-1.
30-1.
30-1 would be crazy.
Yeah, I think the Houston offense really turns on this game, scores 30 runs.
Sets a new MOR record.
Okay, so how about you, Admiral Jones, who I don't know if you're listening or not. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, is he in there?
Yeah, he's in
He joined.
So who do you think is going to win, Twins or Astros, if your mic's set up? Going once?
If it isn't, just type something in the chat.
Yeah, maybe he'll get...
Oh, he's typing. Oh, that's an MLB, never mind.
That's in the off-topic thing.
Yeah.
Hold on, maybe he has us muted. I'll ping him.
Anyway, so will we see?
So it seems like we he says fuck this shit. All right, so I guess we can stall for him, or we can get back to him later, because I definitely want to hear his comments on some things that we've touched on already. But yeah, it seems like this could be a close game. This is basically a game of who can pull themselves out of the basement the best, and I think both teams have an argument to win that, to show that they're the better team when it comes to pulling themselves out of a bad situation. I think the Astros are in a worse situation, mind you, because they've been losing so much while the Twins have their first win recently. And I think especially just for the memes, because the Twins are very they're very meme heavy. I think just for the sake of getting memes, I want the Twins to win, because that'd be very great.
The memes would be legendary if the Twins managed to pull it off.
Twins would just be spouting 2 wins in a row. Paper cup, here we come.
Not just that, I just want another video, and I'm not sure how they do it with Astros, but I need something like that again.
It would be like a rocket. Yeah, it could be like some sort of rocket thing, like space thing.
Chasing them around.
Yeah,
like an asteroid field or something.
Yeah, maybe they can have. I don't know if the Twins and the Astros have like a history together. Maybe they can have like a bad moment in Astros history. That was a good moment in Twins history. But yeah, it seems like we got a pretty good idea of Astros and Twins. We might go back to that later if Admiral gets his mic on. But all right, let's go to the next game, which is Mets versus A's, which is I think this I don't know for sure, but I think this is going to be a very easy game to predict for us. I mean,
yeah.
We look at both these teams. Oakland has definitely has some glaring issues, and actually, the more I look at it, Oakland has some glaring issues, and the Mets have a little bit more glaring issues, but I think they're a little closer than it seems. I think Shark could definitely be the closing force when it comes to taking these Mets out. It's starting today, right? It's not a...
Yeah, it's Shark.
Okay, so I think he could be the force that really makes the Mets have little chance. But at the same time, I talked about it earlier, and I think the Mets are a little bit better than people think. They definitely have a good core. Pitt Squires, and Xavier Crowbar and Monster Mash. There's a weird thing with the Mets where like the inactive players are just not hitting, while the active players are just hitting. Like they're hitting very well, and I think that could be something that makes the game very interesting. I think we got I think the inclusion of James Maso, who hit that walk-off home run, I think he's invigorated this team tenfold, and I think it was very good that they did switch GMs because Giubi Star was having a little bit of trouble keeping up with the game, and I think Master Cashier has been very good stepping in and delivering some good some trades, especially trading Quinn. I don't think Sonny Streaker is a pick for them that will lead to success. I think as far as pitchers go, I think I would call him the worst. Not
his stat line would certainly show that, but
and I don't think it's not necessarily to say that he's awful or he isn't trying. I just think it's just such a good pitching. Like we have such a good pitching group.
League.
This league is so good at pitching, and there's just so many good pitchers that I think he's just like drew the short end of the stick when it comes to that. But
yeah,
definitely, I want to hear your guys' opinions. What do you think about this?
He could really turn his season around. Like it's been five sessions now. That's technically just the start of the season. So if Sonny Streaker could definitely turn out to be a crazy good pitcher, but I think that the Oakland A's offense has them beat with Van Vector, one of the guys we talked about extensively. I believe he's now hitting something like 643.
That is a definite AL MVP. He keeps even
insane.
A little bit of this up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Salsa Shark, he's a good pitcher. 2.40 ERA, a whip of 130. That's quality. I feel like Oakland's definitely got it, but I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as everybody thinks.
Definitely. As when I looked a little bit more into the stats, I thought I was thinking, yeah, maybe the Mets don't have. I think they have a good chance of pulling off an upset, but it's an upset nevertheless. But how about you, Stone? What do you think?
I may have an unpopular opinion here, but if New York can give Streaker a lead and like a real lead, which they haven't scored a lot, let's be honest, which is really not helping them. But if they can give Streaker a lead, I think that they could take it. They're already up 1-0, which nice lead off home run. But I think it's kind of hard to see my opinion pull through because the Mets have been so unproductive so far, and there's Shark who seems to be after the home run seems to be calming down a little bit. There's always Van Vector, and that's pretty obvious. So I think it's really hard to see the Mets winning, like even a little bit.
Is this shit working?
Yeah, it's working.
It is.
Fucking finally, okay.
All right, so I guess we'll go a little bit of retrospect. We can. All right, how about we do this? We'll try to be quick with this, but we're gonna go back through the games to get your opinion on them. But we talked extensively.
Yeah.
So just quickly, Orioles at Braves. Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the score is going to be?
Okay, I got to do a speed run here. The Braves have been a very impressive team to me. Junks Tandem, I have no idea what's going on with him. He seems to have vanished for a little bit. But Cal Tiberius is pitching great. He just went out and had another great outing against Oakland. Only gave up 1 run. And Baltimore's offense is extremely uninspiring. I really haven't seen anything from them. That would lead me to believe that they're going to be able to really get to Tiberius. They have one good hitter in Randy Number. I'm not really convinced beyond that, and their pitcher Rob Pancakes has a habit of getting lit. So I'm not at all confident in Baltimore's ability to win that game. So I would easily take Atlanta and expect them to win.
You're lucky Dom is AFK right
Not
now.
here at the moment.
Because he gave like a plea towards the Orioles offense. But I think I agree with you a little bit. I think I did take Braves.
I mean, I've been unimpressed by Baltimore, but I've also been very impressed by Atlanta. So it's kind of a combination. I think they did add Meerkat Timmons, so
he could be big.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see if that guy can come through. But so far, the players that Baltimore thought were going to be producing for them have not been producing for them, and that has to start happening.
I think for the sake of the league, Meerkat Timmons has to do good because that name needs to be on top of it.
That name is pretty great. I can't deny.
To. So you pick Braves.
I didn't. I did not. I would. I don't know. Probably something. I'd go probably like 4-2 Atlanta.
Okay. All right. D-backs Tigers.
Oh, that's an interesting one. So we all know the Tigers started 3-0. They've now dropped the last two. Big Tuna has gotten hit a little bit in the last 2 games. His numbers compared to the rest of the league are still really good for the number of innings, especially for the number of innings he's thrown. He's tied for the league lead in innings pitched, and he doesn't appear in the top 5 for earned runs or hits. So, given the fact that he's throwing a lot of innings and not giving up a lot of runs or hits, shows you that the guy has got something going for him. So I do still believe in him. He has taken losses the last 2 games. I think that's partially because the offense hasn't really shown up. That being said, Arizona's offense is still very good. They've got Rico Varing-Hipster, who's been raking all season and still is raking. He's probably the leading candidate for NL MVP right now. I wouldn't say he's runaway favorite, but he's right now. If the season ended now, it'd probably go to him. That dude just lives and breathes extra base hits and doubles.
Yeah, definitely.
Assassin Panda's a great presence in that lineup. Garrett Ipnov is hitting dingers. I have faith in that lineup to get shit done. Einhorn has been really good in his 3 starts. His ERA is 1.50. He's got over 7 Ks per 6. The guy knows what he's doing, and he's going out there. He's striking people out, and he's not giving up runs. So if Arizona can put it together, they can be really good. I think they're better than their record suggests. But this should be a good game. I would watch out for this one. I'll go. I think this is going to be. I think this game sets both teams to 3-3. I'll take Arizona.
Yeah,
but I think it'll be a lower scoring game. I think it'll be 3-2, 2-1, something like that.
This game's very interesting because
could go to extras.
It's kind of like a place where both teams are in very bad morale. With the Diamondbacks losing 1-0 against the Twins, and
that's a tough loss.
And we got the Tigers losing in a walk off against the Mets, which is also a very tough loss. So it's to see.
It's also tough for your pitcher to give up 1 run and lose.
Yeah, definitely. So it's to see who has the better morale to pull out of this. But I think it's very telling that the Diamondbacks offense it scored 0 runs in their last game, and it's still very impressive in paper. It's very impressive when you look at it, which I think
it definitely has to be a bounce back game for them. If they put up 2 stinkers in a row, then it's going to be a problem. But
all right,
this could be a good opportunity for them to come back from last session.
All right, Nationals at Pirates. What do you think?
Okay, well, obviously I'm biased on this one. Since I play for the Nationals,
that being biased so far.
That being said, our offense is better. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. We have 3 or 4 of the best hitters in the league on this team, with Chad Barrett, Milo Grams, Bo Kinsella, Gene Henning. These guys are all putting up mad numbers. You've got home run threats up and down the lineup. You've got a new guy in Nathaniel Booth, who kind of were rescuing from the back of Toronto's bench to give playing time. Since we were in need of a power lefty in this lineup, and we've added one with him, so we're going to give him a shot this week. Jayyburdd has put up great numbers so far. His innings sample is limited. It is qualified, but it is limited.
It's fairly qualified, yeah.
Yeah, he's just barely a qualified pitcher. But so far, his outings have been impressive. He did get hit a little bit by the Phillies last week, but he also got thrown into a tough situation in that game after kind of being sent in to clean up Hudson's mess and extras. So I have faith in Jay to do what he needs to do, and I definitely have faith in this offense to do what we need to do. Obviously, I'm going to take my own team to win because it's my own team. And honestly, and I think Vader is hittable. I think we can get to him. So
I think
the numbers, the issue is that you can look at the leaderboard or the stat spreadsheet for Vader's numbers, but they're not accurate because the Pirates' numbers haven't been updated yet because their game's not over. So the numbers that you're seeing on the Pirates' stat sheet, his ERA and WHIP are going to be higher when that game ends because he has given up 4 runs to Houston in addition to some hits, and that game isn't over. He could give up more. So we will see. We will see where that ends up, but I don't think he's unhittable, and I think our offense is very impressive.
I think the feeling force in the Pirates is going to be their ridiculous morale, where like all of their players are like, we're going to win every single game ever. So we're gonna have to see if that's enough of a feeling.
In all fairness to Mr. Ricky Steele, who is in this podcast right now, he has been playing extremely well. I can't take that away from him. Johnny Hopkins has been raking all year. So yeah, do I think their lineup has promise? Of course. I think our lineup's better. So
I kind of
okay.
I think the one thing that changes it a little bit for me in my team's favor is it's not Hildebrandt. And I'm not saying that what's his face? I can't remember.
Jayyburdd.
Is Bedia, thank you, is bad. It's just that looking through our lineup, Hildebrandt has a very, very dominant hand matchup. And I think that that's kind of scary. So I think if you get to the end and go to Hildebrandt, you definitely got it at the end.
All right, so
we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game. But all right, so next we were kind of. Oh no, we gotta go to Twins Astros first. So
I was actually listening to you guys. I was trying to figure out my mic situation, and I finally did figure. I changed some settings and restarted Discord. But anyway, I did hear you guys, your guys' conversation on that game, and I just wanted to throw out one thing about Buck Cheeks since Jay brought him up, which is that guy's fucking stupid clutch. Like, what the fuck? I don't. I feel like he only hits when he's needed most. I feel like he's not all that great unless it's a high leverage situation, and then you're gonna get an extra base hit out of him. Like even in this game right now, the Astros are down by 3, and it's they're down to their last out at this point. But to lead off the inning, they get a runner on, and then Buck Cheeks comes up and just immediately doubles. So you're getting extra base hits out of this guy when it counts. And
he definitely is a staple in that lineup, and he definitely shows.
Yeah.
He definitely shows the Astros problems where they get so close. Like they get guys like Buck Cheeks who can perform, but then when it comes down to that final out, lately they just have not been able to put it through. And there's final innings. And
we're about to find out that again, if they can pull through or not.
Yeah, hopefully we get that result soon. That'll be definitely interesting. But yeah, okay. So who do you think's gonna win?
That's a tough one. I do like Minnesota. I think they show promise. Like you guys were saying, Twinkie Power did just hit that home run a little earlier. I think Astros pitching has been struggling as of late. They started off very strong and they've slowed down. And I want to see a stronger performance out of their pitching before I pick them. And Minnesota has, like we said, Minnesota's been slowly crawling their way out of the basement and finally got that win that they were looking for this week. So I'll take Minnesota, but I think it's going to be a close one.
It's going to be a big morale fest, I think. It's just one of those games.
Looks like I'm the only one for Houston then. So I guess we'll see how that turns out.
Houston winning wouldn't surprise me at all. I think they have the talent and they've got the players to get it done. I just
don't have the luck. They really don't.
Yeah, to be honest, it is luck has something to do with it.
Speaking of winning, I was just asked if I could rep this. So, who do you think is going to win the home run derby and Osmosis Trident Wonders if you can pitch and bat?
I was gonna go to that after the.
Yeah, I was just bringing it up now because.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually. I could podcast and hit at the same time.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, we can get to that. I was gonna wrap the podcast up with things like that, the home run derby and the World Cup that's coming up.
Sounds good. But let's not spoil it for everybody. Let's go. Mets and A's, I guess.
Yeah, Mets and A's. We were just in the middle of that. So I mean, I was saying that the Mets are a weird team where if the rest of their team was hitting half as well as their core, then it would be a very different team that we'd be looking at here. We got people like Xavier Kobar, who's just been good from the get-go. He's just been on top of the leaderboards. He's recently gone down a little bit, but I still see him as being a huge force in this league. We got Pip Squires, who is the same way. As somebody who did give him up in the beginning of the season, that's not exactly something I want to see, but I'm happy he's finding some sort of success in that Mets lineup. And we've got Monster Mash, who's been an outspoken member of this community, and he definitely has the bat so far to prove it. I think he needs to work a little more on those RBIs, those extra base hits. He only has a double and four singles, so we're just gonna have to see if he can get some more production off that bat.
Yes.
What's up?
Just hit another homer. No big deal.
Well, I know I didn't really have to hit too many homers because of the whole I shut Bodie McBoat face out.
Why'd you step out of the home run derby, by the way?
I'm not good at multitasking, and
that's fair.
I'm basically like I'm trying to officiate this podcast. I want to.
Dom Dunquette's back. Looks like he's returned from wherever he was off to.
My God, this is embarrassing. I keep having to go.
It's fine, dude. It's fine. Things happen. At least you've been on for most of it, so.
Yeah.
I was late, so.
I couldn't say the same about Pioneer and.
Oh yeah.
And
where's Hunter too? He just kind of.
Yeah, he said he wasn't gonna make
confirmed
it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tiberius was actually supposed to be on this, but he never showed up.
We talked about him a lot too.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to see that in the VOD. I expect the second episode to have a lot more guests in it. A lot of people who probably see this one and go like, actually that sounds pretty fun. And
yeah.
Anyway, as far as the Mets lineup goes, they just need more production from guys who aren't in that like little core. There's like 3 or 4. Like Meso, I haven't mentioned.
That's actually what I was previewing earlier. I was like, I'm gonna get prepared to preview the Mets. And it was like they just have a handful of good hitters, and the rest of their team is getting carried by those guys.
Yeah, Meso is like a big because they needed that. Meso is a new addition, and he's come in and he's put up some good numbers to begin with. He walked off the Tigers. That's very promising in a team that didn't see a win before, had not really been used to winning games. Meso, as a new guy, he brings in this air with this walk-off that these guys can win. These guys have what it takes. They just need a little bit more from the hitters that have not shown up yet. They need to show up. But let's move this conversation to Oakland, though.
You could say the exact same thing about Oakland, though. Because
I was about to say, I think I did hear you guys mentioning the Oakland offense, and obviously Caleb Van Vactor has been absolutely a monster all season.
Lights out.
Here's the thing. Is there anybody else on that team that scares you?
No. Looking at it, no.
Justin might, although he's only played a game.
Their second best hitter, the second best hitter on their team, just quit to be their GM.
Yeah, that's going to be something bad. We have to see if their previous GM, Grey Goose McGillicuddy.
Granted, looking at it, Salsa Shark can hold his own in the batter's box.
Pitchers who rake.
That is true. That is very true.
At Madison Bumgarner.
He's not the. There are two pitchers at least that are better though.
Well, yeah, definitely. I know one of those.
Skyhead and S.A.R. Dinka are both crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't talk much about S.A.R. Dinka. We should have. Yeah, eight at bats, 4 hits, 1 home run. and 2 RBIs. The guy can hit, definitely.
I was gonna save that for the overview of the Phillies Jays game.
Oh, that's true. That's why we haven't talked about them. That's why I was like, wow, we didn't talk a lot about the Blue Jays. That's because that's the next game. But let's quickly go through. All right, so Stone Steel, who do you think's going to win Mets at Athletics?
Like I said before, I think if they could give some run support to the streaker, they might have it. But I don't see it. They got a leadoff home run from Smegma, who's the guy who kind of hasn't done much. They have a good core, with Mash, Meso, and Squires and Crowbar a bit. But even with the loss of their second best hitter, I still think that the Athletics have got this. I'm also excited to see what McGillicuddy could do returning from his retirement to play center field. So
I think the A's need another hitter to step up in Gymnast's place to show that they have more than just Van Vactor. Sorry, go on.
Definitely. I think excuse me. I think maybe 3-1, 4-1. It's definitely going to be New York's going to score at least one. They've already hit
Oh yeah, they already did. So you think that's going to be their only run?
Maybe I'm focusing too much on the one. I think it's going to be not very high scoring for either side, but definitely in Oakland's favor.
Okay, so how about you, Tom? You took a little bit of a hiatus there.
Yeah.
Where's yours?
Looking at these lineups, as you guys stated earlier, and as we all acknowledged, they have a few hitters that are really carrying their offense right now. But a few hitters, one of them isn't an MVP candidate. A few hitters, one of them is an MVP candidate. And looking at the pitching, the Athletics just seem like a better team to me, and I'm going to go with a low-ish scoring game. Not low, but I'm going to say 4-2 Athletics, and I'm going to say Van Vactor. I'm going to say he gets 2 RBI this game.
Wow. I think Van Vactor is due for a cold streak. I think if the Athletics want to win, they need to get Van Vactor to hit, and they need more than just Van Vactor to hit. I think we need to see
somebody's got to step up behind him because he can't carry the team by himself.
They need somebody like
that 3-1 record
Watson.
will not maintain if he's the only one hitting.
They need Max Watson to come up there.
They're 3-2.
Oh, okay, it hasn't been updated. All right, 3-2.
Whichever team gets depth scoring is going to be the victor.
They dropped 3-1 to the Braves this last week.
Yeah, I agree with what Matus just said. Whoever's depth steps up first is gonna.
And by the way, just to kind of illustrate my point a little bit, in that 3-1 loss to the Braves, Van Vactor was the only guy that touched home plate in that game. He was the only one.
Yeah. So secondary. Sounds good.
He can do it.
He's irate.
Seems to be very keen in getting in here.
Alright, I added him to the permissions. But yeah, how about you, Mattis? What do you think is gonna happen with this Mets at A's matchup?
I think I've got to go with what pretty much everybody's saying is that Oakland's going to take it. It's not going to be very high scoring, but Oakland's going to take it by maybe 3-2, 4-2. I feel Saul's the Shark can definitely pitch a really good game. I'm pretty sure he's their only pitcher. They have Jay Schwizzle, but he hasn't gotten into a game yet. I'm not sure if he is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Schwizzle because I remember him signing up. I don't know if he's active, if he's in the same sort of situation as Jacob Evans on the Pirates. I don't know if they're just not going to see him or if they're just saving him for a rainy day.
I feel like Saul the Shark can definitely carry a team pitch-wise if he's on his game. If he's not, it's going to be still pretty even because I feel like the Mets don't have that potent of an offense. So I can definitely see Oakland taking it 4-2.
Yeah, it definitely feels like neither team really has like an amazing offense, but definitely feels like the Athletics have the edge in pitching, and I think fan factor is going to be a huge factor as he has been for them all season, and I think Saul Sharp's going to pitch a pretty damn good game. And Oakland's probably definitely going to take this, in my opinion.
What's your opinion, Admiral? Okay. I think he's.
Sorry, I was a little bit distracted by that.
Pimping his home run derby.
That was a little bit frustrating. That one right there. Okay, so Mets Oakland. I've mostly said my pieces on these teams. I think the Oakland offense has been not impressive to me. I mean, they've been good, but I think it's a little bit of a one-man show right now, and I want to see other guys stepping up to help carry the load. The Mets do have like 3 or 4 guys who are consistently hitting. Oakland does have a huge advantage in pitching. I think Sonny Streaker does not measure up to Sal Shark. That being said, I think there's typically at least one upset every week, so fuck it, I'll take the Mets.
Okay. Now, I need to use the bathroom right now, so I think this is a good time for Pi to introduce himself to the podcast, maybe give his takes on the games that we've already talked about. So, hey, Pi, what's up? Rest of you, talk to him.
Hey,
Sure, we'll give it a go.
how are you?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing all right.
Sounds good. So, first game we talked about was the Orioles and Braves. What are your feels on that?
So, I don't know a lot about either of these teams, but my gut instinct is the Braves. The Orioles, from what I hear, maybe aren't doing so well. I think I was up against the Braves. I think we lost when I was on the Mets, so just my personal experience, they're okay. So that's what I would have to say. I don't know.
You think the Braves are going to take it then?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the panel's got at the moment.
Okay, yeah, that's what I would think would be the popular opinion, but like I said, I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Okay, well, the second game we talked about was the D-backs and the Tigers.
Uh-huh.
So the panel sort of thought
we took a general consensus that the Tigers they lost 2 in a row. They're gonna keep on this downswing, and that the D-backs offense, which a lot of people haven't really been, it feels like it's talked about, but it doesn't feel like it's talked about nearly as much as it should be with how good it is. We felt as a general consensus that Arizona was going to take this. I said pretty heftily, but a couple others on the panel thought Big Tuna was going to have a decent game and hold the D-backs to not a huge score, but they were still going.
I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit was able to hang on in that one. I've also, I think, faced those guys when I was on the Mets. No, I was on the Twins then, and we just got stomped, I think. I don't know. So those guys are pretty good. There's someone to watch out for. If they can figure it out, they can really do well. I haven't paid too much attention to the Diamondbacks, but I do hear good things. So I think that might be one to watch this week.
I'm back, by the way. Where are we?
Okay. We're just at the National and Pirates. I was going to let Osmosis Jones take the floor on that one.
I'd just like to redirect everyone to the batting cage to see me losing my mind.
We're watching it now. That's going to be talked about at the end. But
I think you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself, but okay.
3 home runs. Stop the match.
I just hit 3 home runs, and I just hit 5.
Somebody stop the damn match.
Anyway, so Nationals and Pirates, where do you think it can end?
I think that one's Nats. The Nats, they lost their last game, but before that they were just unstoppable. And I personally just got lit up by the Nationals in my first outing as a player. So I've seen firsthand the destruction and mayhem they can cause. So
thank goodness, finally someone on the panel agrees with me about this.
So I definitely think Nats.
The upset.
And I don't think it was going to be close, is what I'll say.
As somebody who's seen the Mats both as the ump of that game and as the GM of the team who beat them, I don't know. We'll see. I think that Pittsburgh. I think if there's any team to do it, I think their team can speak beyond their numbers. I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again, but yeah, I think that Pitt could pull through with that one. But then that's easily steamroll them. So Twins and Astros, bias can be allowed here because we've all had bias so far.
I mean, you don't even need to say it, right? Like, it's the Twins by a mile. Houston, like,
I actually gave the Twins the win here too.
Well, as you should have, because
I said it was
the mightiest team in the league.
The mightiest team in the league. Wow. And what makes you say that?
Well, I know some of the pitchers are pretty popular, well-liked, good at pitching, incredibly handsome, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I say. They have the pitching, is what we'll say. The offense, I don't know, not my business. Well, the designated hitter in the next game, I hear, is a stud. Just mashes home runs every day, 10,000 feet or something like that.
Man,
Nuts.
I wonder who this guy is.
I don't know. It slips my mind. I've been busy all day, but, watch him. He's going to hit some dongs.
Yeah, well, a lot of us agree that the Astros are on a slippery slope down, and if they can't beat the Pirates here, it doesn't look good for them, I would say.
I would agree. Speaking more unbiasedly, I would agree.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be necessarily a blowout from the Twins, but I think the Twins are going to pull through. I think they got the pitching.
God help us if we don't.
God help your soul.
All right, so Mets and A's.
So the A's I know are good. Like, not as good as the Twins, obviously, but I know they're good. The Mets, I think it's on pitching for them. If they can't pitch well, then they won't win. If their pitcher can figure it out, then they've got a shot, because I know they do have some offensive capabilities. So that's what I would watch in that game, is just to see how the Mets pitchers can figure out their business. But I think the A's would take the edge in that matchup.
Yeah, the panel gave it to the A's solely because it doesn't seem like the Mets or Oakland really have a lot of talent, but they have a handful of players that are going to carry them. And we gave the edge to Oakland because of their pitching and Van Vactor, who has just been animal this year.
Yeah,
I mean, I struck him out, so he's not that good, but
not that
great hitter whose name rhymes with Schmaleb Schmanschmachter. So yeah, I wonder who that is. All right, so I guess we're caught up now. It seems like we all think that the A's will pull through there, or at least it should be close. We'll see. All right, so let's go to our final game, which is the best of the evening: Blue Jays versus Phillies, and the Phillies. I guess I'll leave my opinion behind here, and I guess we can start with Stone Steel. And what do you think is going to happen here?
Actually, could you come back to me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Okay, Dom. So, how about you?
All right, I got this. I am going to give not a crushing blow, but I'm going to give the Phillies a sizable W with a 5-2 win over the Blue Jays.
That's unfortunate because the Jays already have 3 runs.
I forgot about that. I'm going to give them a 6-3 victory over the Jays. Now listen, I may sound crazy because the Jays already have 3 runs, but they can. I think the Phillies can come back in this game, and I think they can because they have a lot of offensive power. There's a 336 average in there. We got 25 runs as a team, only 10 strikeouts, 14 walks, 8 home runs. Crossfire is an absolute animal. Fucking who else we got here? We know Kyle Mack can steal bases. He's also pretty good at this game. He can hit the ball pretty darn well. And it's a very good all-around team. And even though the Blue Jays jumped out to an early lead, I think Sardinka's been struggling a little bit recently. He hasn't had never mind.
It's Moyer.
Who is it? Moyer? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Just traded for.
Moyer also hasn't been pitching that great either, actually. Moyer, not the best. Respectable. He can manage himself in a game. He can win a game. He has proven he can win a game because he won a damn game. Probably only because he plays for the Nationals. Played for the Nationals.
Yeah. He got a win on 8-5 game.
I think the Phillies can jump out here. The Phillies can take a lead right back and really do some damage in these later innings, and take the W and send Toronto to 1-5.
How about you, Mattis?
I was gonna let you go first because
I guess we
got the two opposing GMs in here.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Well, I think Moyer is hard to predict. I think because he's well rounded. That could be a fault later. We'll see. I think though that we just gotta hand it to the phenom in the making that is my man's Cambodia, who's just started the year with 2-0 differences. That's just insane. We had none of them, and then we have Dia coming up here with 2 in 2 games. I'm not gonna fangirl that much about Dia, but he's not.
First.
But like this is a team that scored 9 runs against the Orioles. They scored 10 runs against the Nats, albeit in 1 inning. But even if
no.
I feel like the thing is they did lose against the Athletics, who have gotten definitely worse since then. But they've shown themselves to be beatable against teams that maybe are not as good as them in the long haul. So I think Toronto, especially with this 3-1 lead, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm perfectly confident and like I think this is gonna be a cakewalk. I think this is gonna be a ladder to climb. Like looking at Toronto, they definitely have they have a middling offense. They're not the worst. They're not the best. They're definitely not the worst. We got people like Grams, I've umpired a bunch of times. Grams has always been a good hitter. I remember his I remember his home run in I think session 3 where he hit a home run and I had the fans have inflatable canes to show their support for him. So I definitely like Grams. He's a lefty. Lefties are rare. He's definitely taking advantage of his small hitter bonus. And we also have Stride, who came out, or I guess I should call him Lane Drew, who came out and sort of changed bad fortunes around with a very, very good game his last session. And we got Reference, who's been doing well. Barry, who's been doing phenomenal, just 500 average. I don't think Barry is talked about enough because Barry is a fucking.
His average is up to 556 because he did lead off with a single in the first.
He's a beast, dude. Like that guy is definitely.
He has 8 singles, 0 strikeouts, 0 walks.
He's a single machine.
He's literally put every single ball in play for either an out or a single. He is a 2 true outcomes guy.
He's like a Ben Revere type dude, but he does have.
But better than Ben Revere.
Yeah, well,
except he can actually hit a baseball.
Ben Revere just sort of fell off a cliff after his Blue Jays. I think he did pretty well with the Blue Jays then.
He was decent with the Blue Jays. He came to Washington and sucked ass.
Yeah, now he's sucking ass with the Angels. All right, fake baseball. But I think Moyer is the victim of a small sample size.
Just before everyone continues, because I just got called up my first baseman. I have the best first baseman in the league, and I love him, and he hits home runs.
I think he's okay.
He's okay.
For a guy
who hits Johnny Dick shot.
For a guy who hits home runs, he doesn't really have any home runs.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not hitting in the 7th spot because he sucks. He's hitting in the 7th spot because I love him.
Where you put the guys you love in the 7th spot? And the
I essentially made a top half of the lineup and then replicated it in the bottom to essentially just try and score as many runs as possible.
Yeah.
Speaking of scoring as many runs as possible, the pitchers in this matchup, Sardinka and Hattie,
pitchers who rake!
Yeah.
Are both DHing. They're both DHing tonight.
They are?
DHing?
Yeah. I forgot I was DHing Had. Well, it's for
it's actually Sardinka and Syhad are both DHing and they're both in the 5-hole.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so
two pitchers DHing in the same.
This is the game. This is the game I'm upping. So. And the pitcher for the Blue Jays was the DH for the Nationals last week.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Very true.
And he hit a homer in that game. Yeah, he hit a homer in that game.
He definitely left his Nationals tenure with a bang. But yeah, I think as far as the game goes, what I hope to have happen, Phillies just barely just eke it out against the Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays have a history of having wins eked out from them. So
very true.
So I think we could pull that off. I think it's very possible that the Blue Jays just shut the door after this home run. We're just gonna have to see. My guys though are very just like, if you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. They've been very good with that type of stuff. So I'm just hoping.
Lead off single from my boy Herrera doubles.
That's good. He needs that definitely with his sub 200 average.
I think I'm next.
Well, yeah.
How often do you see two guys that are hitting like? I think he was 222 and I was 143, and we're the first two hitters in the lineup.
We definitely talked about that. If the Pirates wanted to beat the Nationals, they had to make sure O-doubles and you did not hit. And if O-doubles is leading off with a single, it's not exactly fulfilling that. But
yeah, I was gonna say they've got to keep the shitty leadoff hitters away.
Because if they don't stay shitty, then what about the guys who actually have been doing very well? Like, what are they gonna do?
Exactly.
But yeah,
we've got Hennig, Grams, Kinsella, and Barrett hitting 5, 6, 8, 9.
Dude, Barrett.
So the back half of the lineup is scary.
Barrett is the best story in this whole entire league.
Mr. Irrelevant turned into by weighted on base average 4th best hitter in the league.
He's the Piazza of this league so far, especially since he was traded away. So
traded away after playing well.
Yeah,
which is exactly what the Dodgers did with Piazza.
But at the same time, like I said before, I mean, we've got a player here who, I mean, James Earl Pones was traded to the Twins in that, then James Earl Pones was ended up traded to the Mets.
Along with Sonny Speaker,
yeah, for Quinn. So I mean, Quinn's
could be it. They could have turned that around. in which case the Mets just took the brunt of that.
Yeah, they just kind of paid for that because Streaker, like Streaker he's not.
Streaker is streaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
He literally is. I mean, in his first game, he took a no-hitter into the 4th and then got blown up.
All right, but okay, I said my spiel. So Mattis, what do you think?
Oh, okay. I'm ready for this.
Oh, you have your notes out?
Yep.
I don't have any notes. It's not fair.
So, I think the Jays are going to win it, obviously. No bias here. No bias whatsoever. You won't prove any bias. I think that this 3-run lead is going to be enough. I feel like Timland, or Timothy Moyer, awesome nickname, is going to be able to shut the door for 4 or 5 innings, and then we'll see who I bring in, because I know I can bring in either one of my other pitchers, because I confirmed this with some people. So,
Oh yeah, Pyram. You got Pyram. I was thinking of Moses, but you have 4 pitchers, and that got rid of Moses.
I had to get rid of Moses because he hadn't responded to me or any other GMs in over a month.
Yeah, but alright, continue.
Anyway, so Sardinka, he's currently DHing, and I think he's proven to be one of the better hitters on my league, if not one of the best hitting pitchers in the league. Besides,
but he is the second best hitting pitcher in this game. I mean,
besides only your own.
Just saying.
I know, the second best, but I'll still take the second best. But then I'm gonna say Moyer's probably 3rd or 4th best because he hits for quite a good average, 400 to be true. Sadly, I don't think we're gonna be able to see him hitting very much this game, but you never know. I might work some lineup magic. And speaking of lineup magic, I think what really needs to be looked at is the top and bottom of my lineup. Because for the past couple sessions, I've kind of been keeping the same lineup, just hoping and praying that it was going to work, and it hadn't. I mean, I hate to say it, but some of my players just weren't hitting as well as I needed them to be, so they got moved down the lineup, and some other players got moved up. One player who got moved up was Thomas Berry. He's also doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. He's absolutely insane. I think you said 550 something average there, Admiral.
He needs them extra base hits.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps getting
I was gonna say something to the effect of the old lineup when you're. I hate to disparage the guy, and I love he's a good guy, and I don't want to say anything bad about him other than his play. But you can only keep a guy in the cleanup spot so long who's 0 for 15 with 10 strikeouts.
Yeah. I had to sort that out.
That's not a good strategy. And then your guy in the 3 hole was 1 for 12 with 7 strikeouts. So your 3 and 4 was just a black hole, and moving them down to the bottom of the order could galvanize them to play better, which is what you need from those two.
If those two pick it up, I feel like we can definitely win, but just my new top of the order seems to be working out really well so far.
I mean, they scored 3 runs on their first shot. So
the Orioles might be on the brink of changing the 4 hole.
You change your the Orioles. I actually thinking about this because every time a team has drastically changed their lineup, they've gotten a huge boost in production.
I put Randy Number in the 3 hole. And we finally won, and he just started to just shit on everything.
Exactly.
The Nationals, we tend to run different lineups most weeks. Like, we don't really have a set lineup. We tend to run out a lot of different guys in a lot of different orders.
Same here.
Our lineup this week is similar to last week's because we're getting a similar pitching matchup. So we think Darth Vader is pretty similar to Cy Had as a pitcher. So we're running out a similar lineup against them.
Ours is similar because we scored 10 runs. So might as well
that makes sense. I think that, to me, that Nationals-Phillies game was indicative of probably the 2 best teams in the league. Because,
I would say.
Yeah,
because
maybe the
absolutely.
Disregarding once it got into extra innings, that was a close fucking game, and it was a really good game. That was a really, really good game. And when it got into extras, I think Hudson tired out and got hit. But going forward, I'm really looking forward to facing the Phillies again because
that's a rivalry there.
We want revenge.
2 very good teams.
We want revenge.
Very good matchup.
And second off, I think we proved that we can. I think both teams proved that they can hang with the other. It's just that once it got past regulation, things went haywire for us. So.
Yeah.
We've got a matchup in session 16, and I mean, if we get to the playoffs, we should see each other a little bit more than that. So
depends on what Atlanta has to say about it, but yeah.
Atlanta scares me.
And Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's hanging in there with the 4. They could be 4-1. They could be 4-1 pretty shortly here.
Atlanta's not going to scare you once they lose to the Orioles. Don't worry about it.
That's true.
But yeah, did you? Were you finished, Mattis? You want to give a score?
I'm pretty much done there. Just my pitchers, I think that their ERA is a little bit blown out of proportion just because of, Levi had a unfortunate outing with that grand slam that kind of blew his ERA out of proportion. Moyer, again, hasn't pitched all that often, so his ERA.
Also, in defense of Moyer, as a former teammate of mine and a friend of mine as well, almost all the runs he gave up in that 8-5 loss were garbage time runs in the 6th inning. Like, I'm pretty sure we went into the 6th inning against Arizona up like 8-2 or something like that. And he had only given up like 1 or 2 runs through the first 5 innings. And he got smacked around a little bit in the 6th. But we were so far ahead at that point that's like, why would we pull him? Like, there's no reason to pull the guy considering how far ahead. Yeah, so I think he ran out of gas towards the end of the game. He's not the youngest guy.
I'll keep that in mind.
He's a wily veteran, but he pitched very well for us for the first 5 innings of that game. So
yeah, I'm excited to get him to pitch very well for me. And then Sardinka, I feel like he got hit around a little bit. Like, he did a complete game shutout one session, and then next session he gives up, like, I don't know, I think it was a couple 4 or 5 runs. It's pretty rough. But again, he hits, he rakes. Love the guy. I feel like we can definitely pull this out. But I mean, the Phillies are still such a good team that you never know what's going to happen against them.
Yeah,
early momentum is good momentum.
All momentum is good momentum, unless it's downwards.
I wanted to get a little bit more comments from the ump of this game to get specifically. Do you think who do you think will win? Do you think the Blue Jays will pull it out?
That the first inning that the Blue Jays put up was extremely impressive to me. I think they showed like some pretty crazy offensive moxie in that first inning, especially off of a pitcher who has been as stingy as Oliver Yu has been. Tom Berry, if he continues to hit singles like he's been hitting singles, he's going to be one hell of a table setter at the top of that lineup. Grams didn't even take part in that rally in the first, or in that kind of surge of runs in the first. He's a proven and consistent producer, as we know. So with those two at the top of the lineup, and them having gotten a good look at Oliver Yu the first time around, the Phillies are in a hole. There's no doubt about it. So I'm gonna say the Jays win it, just based on the fact that, just based on what I mean, it's not even a mad. I mean, I have to give ridiculously mad props to Cambodia for,
I love that guy,
just absolutely destroying another baseball. Like, this guy is small and plays defense and like is not the greatest hitter you'd think in the world, and then he just comes to the plate and absolutely obliterates baseballs. And so his second exact guess homer of the year, which is just nuts. And if you guys can give, if he can hit like that, and some of the other guys that are on your team that I know can hit, then it's anybody's game. Right now, I just have to say it's the Blue Jays because they did get out to a 3-0 lead, and that's not always easy to overcome. But the Phillies are if any team in this league can erase a 3-run deficit, it's probably the Phillies.
I would have said it was the Nationals.
I like the way you think, but I try not to toot my own team's horn too much.
Okay, so all right, so we got one for the Blue Jays. So we'll go to the final person on our panel. And Pi, what do you think about this game?
So I think obviously the Blue Jays are off to a good start. No one's gonna doubt that. But I think the Phillies are the team that has so many wins, not because of their pitching, but because of their ability to hit baseballs. Like, their pitching's obviously good, right? You don't win 4 games with bad pitching, but I think they win because they score a lot. So the fact that the Blue Jays have a lead doesn't mean so much to me. I think the Phillies, if they want to, can come back. So, I know Timmy as a pitcher, I know he's an athlete. I know he's going to do the effort, but I just don't know that these Phillies, batters can be stopped. So I would have to say Phillies, given what I've seen from them so far.
I knew I did a good job promoting you as into the office of the commissioner.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the thing about the Phillies matchup that probably worries me the most is the fact that usually when we lose, it's because Had is having the most unlucky pitching performance ever, and he's giving up home runs, which is the only thing he's given up so far, which is absolutely insane. So usually,
that's the Max Scherzer strategy. The only runs you give up are solo homers.
Yeah. So I usually when I'm having trouble with Had, we'll just bring in you and you'll shut it out. But the problem is that now I have you, who's giving up three runs. I could bring in Had and just hope that he doesn't become the victim of the long ball, like as he has been over and over again. Because that would sacrifice your DH though. That is true, but I mean we have a lot of hitters, but we'll see. But the thing is, like, we'll just have to just hope that you keeps it going. I'm not distrustful of Had, because if you look at his whip, like his higher ERA, his whip is one of the best in the league, just simply because of that. It's the second best in the league.
Yeah, he's number 2. He is number 2 in the league in whip behind Jayyburdd.
And he has a lot more innings pitched than Jayyburdd. I don't
know if it's third. I think it's 16 2/3 or 16 1/3.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to hope that the pitching stays for that one. But all right, so I'm really hungry, so let's start to wrap this one up. I think we should, since we're done with the games, I think we should on the home run derby. I haven't really been checking in on that. How's that going?
I'm in the finals.
Yeah.
I've hit 4 home runs and 5 home runs in my 3 rounds. And I've beaten, who have I beaten? Oh my God. I beat Brown Spectacle Bear, Wilbur Forrest, also known as Wilbur Forrest Wood, in the first round. I beat Darth Vader 15-21 in the second round. And I beat Johnny Dickshot in the third round. So
you mean
and that was
Johnny Dickshot, the home run extraordinaire, you beat him? Are you sure?
I did.
Shut up.
Actually, that was a really close one. I beat him 5-4, and he hit the fourth one on like his last out. It came down to the very last pitch, and I managed to get it by him. So I beat him by a little bit, and now I'm gonna get either Holden, Ryder, or Pete Wheeler in the final.
Well, Ryder got a freebie because I dropped out. So, I mean, I guess if you had to if you had to pick somebody, you probably should want to verse him. I don't know.
It looks like he got shut out by Pete Wheeler. So,
Pete Wheeler has a habit of doing that to people.
If Pete hits one homer, he goes to the finals against me. So.
Okay, well, I'd like to, while we're talking about this, I'd really like to shout out Stride Lane Drew for putting together something that I didn't even think of, think of putting it together until the All-Star game.
It's marvelously simple.
And he's been just like working at it it's just become like an offshoot, like a spin-off of the game itself, and I think he's really done something cool that I didn't have to be part of, and yet it's running smoothly, and it's just like a cool extra thing for players to do. So I really like this.
I just dived in on this one. It's been a lot of fun.
I think what we also need to say is I think the whole league is lucky that I was busy tonight and couldn't be there because it would just be done by now. Like, I scored 100 home runs every round. Like,
well, then it wouldn't be done by now because it'd still be in the first round.
You'd still be hitting.
But everyone else would have like given up and like gone to bed.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Okay, so the home run derby. I wish it the best of luck. I hope it continues.
I think Ricky Steele, you won the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
I also set the record for most around. So
What is that, by the way?
The record for most runs in a round is 5.
Oh, I tied it.
Yeah.
We said it at least, so he's not.
Yeah, I hit 5. I have
also, by the way,
13 total.
I think.
What was that?
Ryder hit 3 in his round, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he hit 3. But he had
Top prospect.
So.
Yeah, dude, I like that guy. Dropping one of my people because he hasn't gotten back to me and he hasn't hit my things. So yeah, I mean, I might be giving that Ryder dude.
Oh no! I am.
Hey,
I think a lot.
Oh no!
So.
We'll do a bit.
He wants to be part of the rebuild. He doesn't want to be part of the damn
You guys
dynasty.
just have to do a one-on-one home run derby matchup to see who gets him.
Dynasties are stupid. The rebuild is where it's at.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, dude. But
yeah.
We'll have to prioritize. I mean, I have to prioritize the Pirates are now. I'm trying to see if I can get them a player or two, and then I'll go to the Tigers and probably give them a pitcher. So Boner can get off my ass.
Boner.
Yeah, that was a poor choice of wording, but.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
But yeah, I'm probably then we'll see what's going on here. But definitely, I'm probably gonna get rid of somebody in my like the Sixto Cesar, who is the guy that hasn't really been talking. Like, he hasn't said a word to me. So we'll just see how that works out. But yeah, okay. So the home run derby and the World Cup's coming up. The Fab Whack.
The Fab Whack
now. That's official now.
Yeah, dude. The Fab Whack is definitely official. It's the
Sounds good.
Team Mongolia is going all the way, boy.
Fucking Team Mongolia, dude. I love it.
Team Canada's gonna win it.
I'm angry that you stole Team Canada. I was like, oh shit, probably took Team Canada.
It got there a bit earlier than you did.
Yeah, I took Team Dominican Republic so I can have Manny Machadongs on my team.
Manny Machadongs.
Super funny because I recently because I had to change the front story of the Gazelle because it was about the expansion, and now I have to change it to the World Cup. So, and I actually just got I tried to get pictures of from the classic, the baseball classic, and I got Manny Machado on the Dominican Republic, the Dominican Republic team. So
damn straight.
He's the headlining photo right now. So it's funny you should mention that.
That's a bad
dude. I came up with some crazy ass fucking names for Team
I need to see that. should read some of those for some preview.
I've got two brothers on my team. They both play shortstop, and they're both contact hitters, but one's a lefty and one's a righty. Their names are Genbold Khan and Genzorig Khan. And those are like some of the most normal names on this team. I like literally was going through and looking up like common Mongolian names and surnames, and like these are legit names that that people use. So my starting pitcher Ganbatar Dagur is going to be striking people out all over the place. I'm expecting Otganbayar Sunud to hit a lot of homers. I think Bat Erdane Koid is going to be a pretty solid presence for this team.
He has a fucking hyphen.
Solomon Eljigan is going to hit for a very high average. I'm looking forward to having it, and he's got a great range in the outfield. And finally, Arman Soros is he's a man after my own heart. Big fan. Monkbot Gorlos as well. He's very slow, but he's got great hands behind the plate and a very, very good eye for power hitting. So I'm looking forward to this World Baseball Classic or World Cup, the FabWack. The FabWack, and Team Mongolia is gonna be bringing it to the rest of the world.
And we'll start. The FabWack is officially starting in with Session 7. So we have the schedule up. I put it up on the Fake Baseball Twitter.
Ooh, I'm going up against Japan first.
I'm going up against the U.S. Sweet.
That's a good North American battle.
There's some differences because Israel was replaced with India for some undisclosed reasons.
For some quote unquote undisclosed reasons.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's I think we've been going for like 3 hours now, so I guess that's
yeah. Wow. That's
I thought it was gonna be an hour. We ended up going for a while.
It's quality.
We should be doing. I see no reason to not do this next week, or at least in a few weeks, whatever. I see no reason to not do this more often. Next podcast, we might have a lot more to say about the World Baseball Classic as it's going to be coming up, or it's going to be having started by then. So
I can break some news here on the first podcast if you guys want.
Hit me with it.
Session 5 is fucking over, dude. Oh my god!
Who won?
It's been so long. Oh my god! Pirates win it. The Astros got two. The Astros led off the inning with 2 straight hits, and then next 3 guys went down in order. So they strand 2. Pirates win at 7-4, and me and the commissioner need to discuss, or I need to discuss with the commissioner what a save situation should be in fake baseball to decide whether or not this was won.
Does that count as a save? Because I kind of like the look of having a save in my first outing. Being the real, the fake real Chris Davis, after all.
But yeah, that is going to be a win for the Pirates, and I will update stats shortly here. But I'm also expecting to be hitting in a minute here for my own team. So
all right, so the Pirates they win to improve the record to 4-1.
The Pirates win a record 17 days long game.
Hopefully these players can get some.
It is finally over, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally fucking over.
And that's not going to be something that's going to be beaten, because we're not going to.
No, nothing is ever going to be that long again. Never,
2 weeks
never
is
again.
the cap now. So yeah,
I 100% support that.
But anyway, thank you for listening, whoever is listening right now, and thank you
whoever's still here.
Whoever is going to listen in the future, since I got a lot of people saying they're going to listen to it later, they're going to be surprised.
Hopefully more people tune in.
They best. Yeah. I'll start yelling at people.
Yeah, that's perfect. But anyway, thanks guys. And,
versus Holden Ryder in the finals.
Yeah, we'll tune into that if you're watching live, and we'll see you guys later.